Sorry, feel free to come up if you want.
You don't know. She would be. Do you plan on synthesizing every single religion and philosophy, or do you just are you selective?
I mean, so look, but yeah, of course that's going to be our goal, right? It's incredibly difficult. I mean, I'm not going to be able to achieve that, right? I don't know if any of the, the brethren or the different kind of groups under the same school of philosophers and mystics can achieve that in their lifetime. There are big problems. There are many, many different problems. We're just trying to kind of spread the idea as much as we can, and teach. I think the best thing we can do is just people who are relatively rational, who don't really have much dogma, who can understand concepts and ideas. More importantly, people like Kagame, who at least now knows that, okay, there's a group that call themselves Muslims, and they've at least put themselves out there as saying, bro, if you guys want this particular problem done, there's a group out there who is going to obviously achieve that in a better way than we are, because we don't know the language of Islam or Muslims or the kind of their dogmas and their strengths and weaknesses. So obviously we're going to need the school of philosophers and mystics. It's the same thing when we talk to other groups as well. So ultimately, of course, the only way to lead the world into well-being is really two steps. The second step is to have leadership that is democratic. But the first step in order to achieve that is basically to fight against those who don't want that. And the ones who don't want that right now, in today's climate, is basically America and Israel. Once Western hegemony and Zionist ethno-supremacy, once those fall, then now we can kind of think, okay, what can we do now? What's the next thing that we need to do? But synthesis is just gonna, it takes generations, it takes centuries.
But I see in America and Israel, there's more. Those cultures are more. They allow more for these type of debates. If anything, it's countries like Iran, other Middle Eastern countries where it would be impossible for you to try and even have these type of discussions. But if you were in America, you could actually have these.
Iran is precisely the place. I mean, that's where it originated.
Iran today? I'm not talking about Iran.
I'm talking about today. Yeah, Imam Khamenei is our leader.
Imam Khamenei, isn't he a Shia?
He's basically a traditionalist, rationalist. So he's from the school of philosophers and mystics. But he's
everything is projection with this F word.
They would say, I don't know, man. When you say traditionalist, rationalist, it's kind of oxymoron.
The brethren, it depends on the reality that's presented to them, right? He's traditionalist insofar as he is the head of a state which is still largely traditionalist. If he were leading states that weren't largely traditionalist, he would probably have no need for preserving certain traditionalist concepts.
When you look at how
No, but he may have. It's likely he has justification for that from a legal theory perspective. So if he's, because hijab is one of the many ways.
I am calm. I am still. I am as clear as a mountain lake. I am.
Engineer behavior.
My families know that debt is. I'm John Kitover. For the big line, born ready. Inner peace. Let's
So he's trying to purposely engineer people in his country.
Of course, yeah, that's what
not in a very peaceful way. If you look at the fruits of what came out of that, there's actually Iranian women that are burning their hijabs.
Yeah, of course. That's of course in any society. Of course, in any kind of society.
No, not any society. Like what's happening in Iran is not something you see. Oh, like in Italy or like Pakistan. Like you don't see it everywhere.
No. I'm saying
Iran.
No. When I said any society, I'm referring to the fact that anytime you have a particularly kind of autocratic law, or seemingly autocratic law, you're gonna have rebellion to that, aren't you? Not everyone's gonna want that. What's more likely the case is that it's less to do with the law itself, it's more to do with how it's enforced. And yeah, clearly how it's enforced is problematic, right? In terms of how it's, someone's not wearing it properly, and that's just these are unfortunate circumstances. Transgender reassignment. In fact, Iran is one of the leaders in the world for transgender surgery.
Wait, is that legal in Iran?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't even think that was
yeah. But if you're asking about like gay people, so if you're asking about like the
gay people are not allowed in Iran, but if you want to cut your dick off to suck a dick, you can do that in Iran. That's perfectly okay. Cut a dick to suck a dick legally. That's the way it works in Islam. You can change genders. You can reconstruct your penis into a vagina, ladies and gentlemen, and you can sell your kidney for a profit. It's an incredible society doing groundbreaking research and science and health.
The only goal is maximization of global well-being. Whatever leads
maximizing global well-being. That's all that matters. We've got to maximize the global well-being. If we can't do that, what's the point of doing anything?
This leads to better well-being.
It leads to better well-being for everybody, not just the few, mate. Everybody.
That the dogma itself is not inherently the truth, and actually it could be wrong. So when the dogma is wrong, you should actually use science and
exactly. If dogma, exactly. So when we say we're against dogma, and obviously we are usually having conversations that are just people just shouting, takfiring from anyone, like Muslims, Christians, atheists. It's usually just a fight. But if we want to lay it out properly, no, we don't have. Dogma is just something necessary for huge portions of society. You can't forcibly remove dogma. You need to do it incrementally. Muhammad kept saying, "Bro, stop believing what your forefathers did. Just let reality, whatever reality presents it to you as, don't hold on to the dogmas of the past." If he were on stage right now, we gave him like an update. Sorry, you've been away for like 49 years. Let's just give you a quick update of what's happened in the last 49 years in science, for example. Yeah, give us like 1 hour. information.
There's a camp that believes evolution is completely random, and one that says that it's more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, on that, obviously, that's just going to be, let the science do its work. But look, we're also against dogma in science as well. We know that, there is dogma. There was that meeting like a decade ago, whenever it was, and they wanted to hold that meeting again regarding EES, extended evolutionary synthesis. So, this idea was that, just this kind of textbook Darwinism is too, it's misleading, and how
I agree.
What do you mean by textbook Darwinism?
Well, so just the idea of like random mutations and natural selection and gradually, accumulating small, tiny advantages over time. Like the human eye, for example. What it's saying is, no, it's not incorrect. It's just it's kind of misleadingly not complete, right? Because it assumes the existence of kind of building blocks, developmental building blocks. Like it just assumes, okay, well, light-sensitive cells and lenses, and it kind of the idea is that it has problems in trying to explain the origins of actual novelty, right? Like the first eye or a wing. Yeah, or the placenta. And so
I don't think it has problems explaining any of that. Like the placenta, that came about through integration of viral DNA.
I'm completely with you. I'm completely with you.
Yeah.
I'm completely with you. I'm just saying that there are, there's a calling within the scientific community to have a kind of more coherent kind of synthesis, and it seems that what you might call traditionalist Darwinists seem to be kind of against that. A lot of people kind of missed that. They said that this is just like on epigenetics, or so-called epigenetics. There's controversy when it comes to how trauma evolved, right? Or, for example, inheritance in certain communities of microbes, right? I'm just saying that we're against kind of any dogma that
that's not the same thing.
Well, it's not the same thing.
What you're calling dogma, and
no, dogma is. I'm not talking about any particular model. What I'm saying is dogma is the attitude that any person in any community, in any industry, has to new ideas. That kind of resistance against new ideas. I
don't think they are, but it's more so there's a higher burden. So, like, for instance, you could say there's a dogma against trying to go against Einstein's ideas, but the problem would just be if you're proposing something counter to him, you have to be able to give explanations for all the observations the theory has now and then more. So to me, that's not dogma, that's just a standard of evidence for any new theory. You have to be able to describe what we see now and predict something such that we can say, okay, yeah, this makes more sense.
So what do you think about Dennis Noble?
What are his thoughts? I've heard of him before. He's been on Lex Friedman a lot.
Yeah, well, I mean, he also had a debate with, Dawkins, and it's mostly kind of.
But do you see what I mean, though? Like about what I'm saying? Like, I get what you're saying, but I do. No,
I understand. I completely understand, because I say the same things in response to traditionalist Muslims when they say, well, how about the idea that, like, imagine we're talking, they'll say, well, what about like other forms of, why can't we stop talking about the creation of Adam narrative in evolutionary biology or like in biology? Yeah, obviously, like we're not even having a conversation, but I just don't think it's the same, right? What people like Dennis Noble are saying is So, Dawkins, we should look at watch the debate between Dawkins and Dennis Noble and let me know what you think. But Dennis Noble is basically saying, this isn't, this is kind of like, it's become a dogma, right? When it comes to the information flow. Okay, so, how information is sequenced in order to build proteins. Now, Dawkins says, yeah, this is pretty much what Darwin was saying. It's the same thing. But Dennis Noble was saying, no, what you have to do is you have to find what the pathway is. There's a difference between the pathway for proteins getting built and and that's one thing. And then the other thing is how genes are the kind of like the prime movers. So it's really about information flow. But if they can't even kind of get around the table to say, okay, let's come up with ideas to how to solve this, then that's kind of like a dogma, He's trying to combat this selfish gene narrative that Dawkins had. And he says, okay, why can't we just like explore other ways of doing that? We're not getting rid of the whole model. There's nothing wrong with that, in my view, as a layperson.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Do you believe humans and like gorillas are related?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think we have a common ancestor with them?
Yes.
Okay. So like what would because I hear what you're saying, so like what would change in your framework? Outside of like
nothing. Nothing. Yeah, at that level, nothing. Yeah. Well, yeah, nothing. Well, I mean, I don't think it would change, right? It's unlikely to change.
Yeah, you want because and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like I think maybe you want something more than a mechanistic explanation for why these things happen. You want like a philosophical discussion.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Of course. No, of course. I mean, I don't think we're anywhere near there yet. But no, I just want to let the science do the science, basically. I just don't want any... Look, this also happens in history, right? Critical history. Which is a lot kind of easier to maneuver as a layperson, for me, myself. Because, it's kind of a lot... I think it's simpler in one sense, it's also not simple in another sense. But a good friend of ours, he publishes certain critical historical works, and we see the kind of responses from the peers during the peer review, and it doesn't seem clear how their responses are not dogmatic. I don't really know how to kind of explain that in a better way, but there has to be a reasonable justification to reject a new idea. And I think simply because it's novel and doesn't have precedence, that's kind of exactly what any dogmatic resistance is. It's, kind of, we can't think about this enough. By the way, Einstein was going against, he was going against dogma. That's why people were against him. We have to have a platform, and I don't know how we can kind of quantize this, but there has to all these platforms have to be given to people who are at least qualified, they are trained, and if they're just offering a different perspective, then they should feel free to do that. This is also in cognitive science as well. The dogmas in cognitive science seem to have collapsed, or largely collapsing. In critical history, I think
it's kind of gone to the far left, though, in cognitive science.
That's fine.
I'm just saying.
and I think with evolution, it's going to be the same thing, even with physics. I mean, anyway, removing dogma as much as we can. Removing dogma is not just a religious thing. It's in all industries and fields. As a layperson, I see that, and we have to support people who are trying to get rid of that.
So let me ask you this: what do you think of something that is dogmatic in today, or among atheists? What do you think of materialism?
I think materialism. Well, Nassar can actually respond to this if you want. Nassar, are you there? Nassar, I've been talking a lot. Let me just have a sip. I've been talking like a good 2 hours straight. Yeah, I think that I think materialism. Yeah, we also have to, I think, be careful to distinguish between like actual dogma. I mean, I think in shorthand, I would say, yeah, materialism is dogma, but if it's tied when we're beginning something so primitive, then I'm not sure if I would call it dogmatic.
I think it's more of an assumption. It's just like, because today, you know, if you're atheist, you're most likely a materialist.
But there is one atheist, for example, on Clubhouse. I won't name him, but his argument is his argument for materialism. I don't think is non-dogmatic, because he doesn't even appreciate the necessity of things like, you know, deductive arguments for reality on metaphysics. And that I can't see how that's not dogmatic. I think if you can appreciate deductive arguments and you can appreciate the concept of metaphysics, but you're still a materialist. And also it depends what is meant by materialists. I mean, do they just mean that literally matter is all that exists, or simply like a really weak version, which would be material is all I can know anyway. Like I can't know anything beyond that. Maybe like a kind of agnostic materialist. I don't know if that's the thing.
Materialist, like I would say, I'm talking about like the ones that are like consciousness is from matter, like physical matter, like atoms, and yeah, everything is matter. Everything within you and outside of you is just matter, like atoms.
I think that is. I would say that's probably like quite dogmatic. I don't really see any justification for that.
But like philosophically, like why do you think there's issues with that? When I say philosophically, I'm talking about like in terms of logic. Like what do you think the issues are with that?
Well, it's kind of it almost feels like.
By the way, I'm not debating. I'm not.
No, I know. Yeah.
I'm not serious about it.
I think that for me, it's similar to. So a lot of the time we'll debate against traditionalist Muslims on things like miracles, right? So we don't believe in traditionalist miracles, and we'll often say something like, let's say, for example, the Quran. Okay, so traditionalist Muslims will say the Quran is a miracle. We also say the Quran is a miracle, but what we might mean by miracle is completely different. A miracle for us is just like an anomaly, okay? Whereas the traditionalist conception of miracle is there's like almost like a break in the chain of causation. So they will say something like, so we will say something like, yeah, Muhammad's utterances and, poetic kind of mystical utterances that transformed the peninsula and, has led to something that we're still discussing to this day. All of those were contingent on his genetics, his nurturing, his culture, and everything going back to maybe somehow back to Plato, right, in some indirect way. So there's so many more data points because we're trying to explain the most natural, the least assumptive chain of causation that led to something like the Quran. They will say, no, it's just God. Like God did it. And they will say that's a much simpler explanation. But what we say is that, yeah, but it doesn't have any explanatory power. And similarly, with materialism, it's kind of similar. It's like, okay, well, it's just the way it is.
Like not believe in free will. Like you believe everything is like mechanical, like every decision we do is predetermined fate or
Yeah, well, will and like free will. Usually the question is, okay, what is meant by free will? But yeah, in short, then sure, yeah, everything is predetermined. So we're basically like compatibilists slash necessarian, yeah. Where will is just like one, your desire is kind of the final link in the chain.
All right.
So desire would be like a feeling as opposed to an independent.
Do you think that our desire is like we're the one, like it's how do I say? It's caused from us, or is it caused from God? If you believe in God, I don't know if you.
Yeah. So it's caused. So then, for us, they're not mutually exclusive. If by cause you mean independent cause, no. The only independent cause is God.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So we're basically Neoplatonists. I mean, by the way, so like rationalist Muslims. I mean, rationalist is just what we're kind of known for, because that's immediately what separates us from like all other religious groups, pretty much. Because the beginning of our epistemic journey is just like the laws of logic and the principle of sufficient reason. That's where we start. We don't start much further down the line, like the Bible or Scripture or the Quran. We don't like presuppose those. So we start really just like with 5 or 6 cognitive primitives or cognitive dispositions and cognitive dispositions. But yeah, we're rationalists insofar as that's the beginning of our epistemic journey. But because we're non-denominational, we're just kind of from the branch of philosophers and mystics, we trace ourselves back through like Mullah Sadra and Ibn Arabi and Sohrawardi and Ibn Sina, Muhammad, Jesus, kind of all the way back to Plato. So we're just a derivative of the ancient wisdom tradition. So we will just repurpose names for a particular context. So we are Muslim insofar as we submit to reality when it's presented. We are like also inner circle Muslims insofar as that Plato, Jesus, Muhammad.
So when you choose to be a Muslim, right? Like what exactly, when it comes to because you are dogmatic to a certain extent. So like when it comes to like for like the Quran and whatever tradition of Islam you follow, I'm assuming Neoplatonist tradition, but you just said it. So when you follow that, right? When you choose to believe in, like in parts of the Quran, like you believe in Muhammad, you believe in Allah, you believe these stories, like. Do you believe them because you like it, or you believe it because you think there's like rational evidence to believe them?
So we're not dogmatic. I mean, one can say we're dogmatic about the 3 laws of logic. I wouldn't really consider that being dogmatic. I think that those are so primitive that it doesn't really warrant to be called dogmatic.
Yeah. But basically, what I'm asking is like, if you. Why not just be rational, like free of religion completely?
Oh, I see.
Because you do believe in some parts of religion, at least, right? So.
Yeah, but none of that is dogma. What we care about is evidence and strong arguments. So, we establish our principles independently of religion. When it comes to things like social, political movements, we look back to see, who are the greats, and then once we've identified that Muhammad substantially aligned with these principles that we have, that's why we adopt Islam and Muslim, because we consider that there are justified, strong reasons to continue his project, which really is just like so you may have heard me say, basically the philosopher king. Plato conceived it, Jesus tried it, Muhammad achieved it, and Khomeini revived it. So we aim to continue that project.
What do you mean by the philosopher king?
So Plato's philosopher king?
No, never really.
Oh, okay. So have you read The Republic?
No, I've not read anything from Plato. Like I've read some Aristotle.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the philosopher king basically is the idea that So the idea is that basically the best leader is the one who,
The philosopher.
yeah, is someone who kind of knows and understands and is wise.
The society around him.
Yeah. So nucracy, so the idea of the mind is what is best able to maximize global well-being, rather than like just reverting to like people's opinions. Like people's opinions don't matter. What's important is what reality actually dictates, and in every population there's going to be a natural distribution of intellect. There's going to be a natural distribution of psychological dispositions. Not everyone wants the good of humanity. Not everyone wants even the good of anyone beyond their race or their ethnicity or their tribe, or so there's going to be a natural distribution of intellect. Some people are geniuses and amazing. Some people are epic. Some people are like really, really stupid. I think everyone in this room can attest to hearing people who just said the daftest things. And similarly, the psychological or cognitive dispositions. Yeah, some people are really empathetic, really nice. Others just horrible, horrible individuals. So Plato saw that. Jesus would have seen that. Muhammad certainly saw that. Khomeini understood that. Then yeah, like either you want to kind of defer it to just like people to decide who should be the doctor of the town, right? Why should that be people's opinions? It should be the person who's best qualified for the job. Someone who understands philosophy, someone who understands legal theory, someone who understands the repurposing of myths and narratives, understanding what people are moved by, and they're better at pattern recognition. They're better at being revolutionary. Jesus wanted to lead a revolution. Muhammad managed to do it. Khomeini kind of revived it in the 20th century. So religion really is just a movement. It's not a monument. Whereas for the majority of Muslims and Christians, it's a monument. It's stagnant. It's stuck in the 1st century, like in the 7th century, and in a particular region. So of course, when you
say Muhammad successfully did a revolution, you mean like bringing over and taking over Arabia?
Yeah.
Okay, but how does that and how does that make him the philosopher king of Plato? Because basically, like many cultures, many people, generals in history did this very same thing. Like the Mongols, or I don't know, Napoleon, Caesar. But maybe not Caesar because he just was another emperor. But
many people are kings. I'm not sure if that can be said about philosopher kings. I mean, you could say like I don't know if Genghis Khan would be seen as like the philosopher king. I don't think he cared much. There's a lot of like unnecessary attacks on well-being. I don't know if that was something like that.
Genghis Khan believed in Tamburism, whatever they call it.
Yeah,
Mongolian religion.
Yeah, I don't think like Genghis Khan would even be considered in like a really long list of philosopher kings. But one could maybe look at Marcus Aurelius, certainly as like an attempted and maybe successful philosopher king. Yeah, we could look at candidates, but in terms of exceptionality,
anybody who is a king and believed in some type of philosophy would be considered a philosopher king.
No.
Oh, you'd be a king gone. A philosopher king is like a wise man.
Yeah, just believing in.
Yeah, just a king.
Yeah, just having a philosophy is
Would that mean Gandhi would have been a wise man?
Sorry.
So what about
was Gandhi a wise man?
Yes.
Exactly.
Even in that, there's gradations, right? Even in philosopher king, you'll find like a more apt philosopher king, like Anna Law, probably. Degree.
So like, because I'm thinking of what you were saying, and if we're talking about Genghis Khan, right, who was somebody who wasn't just a brute. He was actually smart. You have to have some level of intellect to do what you did, like to come from where you came from and build like an empire like he did. So if both Genghis Khan and Muhammad like had armies, they had a philosophy. Actually, Genghis Khan wasn't really. I don't think he was very. I don't think he necessarily cared about converting people, right? So in that sense, he was kind of like like you right now. Like you're trying to synthesize, bring peace, whatever. Even though Genghis Khan didn't bring peace, like you know what I mean, though, right? I'm talking about in terms of his ideology. Like he definitely had a faith, but I don't think he was that dogmatic. I don't think the Mongols were that interested in converting people to their Mongolian religion. But like basically, I'm saying the two, right? Genghis Khan and Muhammad, both had an army, both expanded to some point, to some level. They both believed something, you know. So like they're both, aren't they the same thing in that sense?
I don't think so. I don't think any kind of serious historian would consider like Muhammad in the same kind of category as Genghis Khan. I mean, just kind of their mode of rule, their kind of relationship to violence, and even just like there's no kind of demonstration of Genghis Khan being engaged in any kind of like metaphysics or any kind of what you can consider like a systematic philosophy, or even even like an attempt to universalize justice. I don't think any, but yeah,
like you say the same about Muhammad, like so because Muhammad, like when you look at Muhammad, you look at the Quran, Hadith to understand who he was. I don't see
not really the Hadith,
being like I don't see any like some next level like metaphysics or Plato coming from him, right? He was preaching, believe one God, destroy your idols, follow me, that's it. Believe in Allah and the messenger.
Yeah, that's a very. I mean, well, firstly, that's not true entirely, but it's also like a pretty. I would say it's a bit of a characterization of what the historical Muhammad was. The hadiths themselves can't really be relied upon because of all the problems with hadith literature. So it can give us like some insights into the general points, but the Quran really is the primary source. And Muhammad wasn't just exceptional; he was exceptionally exceptional. So I think that to draw any comparisons between like Genghis Khan, I think that.
So what did he excel in? Like, what is so exceptional that he did that Genghis Khan or Napoleon didn't do?
Yeah, I think like the things that I mentioned. I think he established
a religion that's followed by 2 billion people on Earth right now.
You could say that about Christianity or Hinduism.
Yeah, that's fine. But who's the person in Christianity that did that? There was multiple people. It was not just one.
Jesus.
It was Jesus.
Yeah, well, Jesus was the founder. Yeah, but
It just would have been Jesus.
It was spread through other people.
Jesus was also killed.
Christianity
Yeah,
as
well.
We consider Jesus to also be a philosopher too, obviously.
But like you seem like my question is this, right? What is like Muhammad like so exceptionally like what category is he so exceptionally bigger on that takes him out that makes him incomparable to his people like that mentioned?
Yeah, in every category, bro. Like let's start with why you think
I don't see it like to me from a purely like historical point of view, I see it like as they're all people. They did the same. Like Islam expanded and then it gained some lands, then it retracted. The Christians, Europeans, they pushed back. Same thing happened with every other empire. It grew a bit, then it fell. That's like the history of empires. I don't see like anything apart from the setting up of religion. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Islam is followed by 2 billion people today, but I mean. Then I could say Jesus is the same thing, like
Jesus
yeah,
is also
you're correct. Jesus can at least put in the same be put in the same category as Muhammad.
Yeah, he didn't have an army though. I'll say that.
Well, no, yeah. Why would he have an army? He was crucified. But if Jesus had survived, if he was more strategic and more maybe had a higher intellect than, or at least like close to an intellect of Muhammad.
But
then
he wasn't trying. I don't think he was trying to get an army and invade other lands.
Yeah, Jesus was a proto non-nationalist fascist, of course. You think? What do you think Jesus came to do?
You think Jesus wanted to round up an army and invade the Romans?
You don't think that?
You don't.
What do you mean? Come on.
Have you read Jesus' speeches?
Yeah, I've read the New Testament. So, do you, like, I've never even in like skeptics or like people who critique Christianity. This is the first time I'm hearing of this position that Jesus actually wanted to round up an army and invade. Like, this is the first time.
Yeah, what do you think Jesus was coming to do? Just like he was trying to realize Plato's philosopher king. He came to bring the kingdom of God. He came to bring the sword. Like, I don't know, but this is just
the kingdom of God. That's mainly the kingdom of God. He came to bring the kingdom of God.
There's a very famous book by what's his name? S.G. Brandon. It's called Jesus and the Zealots. Just read that. It's a pretty detailed account of
Jesus and the Zealots, sir?
Yeah, Jesus and the Zealots.
Oh, Zealots. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this is not even like many critical historians have this view.
I don't know what happened with my app.
Yeah, because you see, there's like many references to that. You have Matthew 10:34, where he says, I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. Then in, Luke 22:36, he says he commands the apostles to buy swords before the arrest. Then, the predication of the term zealot on Simon. Then when he's being crucified with lestai, which is usually translated as thieves. But if you actually contextualize it within its first century Greek meaning, it broadly translates to something more like insurgent or political revolutionaries. So there are multiple points within the New Testament itself that present an image of Jesus as the zealot. And there's the prior probability. There's the prior probability of like the charismatic figure in that time. Because just a few years before Jesus, there was the Egyptian, right, who Josephus mentions as well, who was the another political revolutionary at that time, and is often compared with Jesus. So there's a lot of evidence of him being a political revolutionary.
I'll say this, like any like historical any critical review of the historical Jesus, right? Whether we want to look at the Gospels, New Testament as a whole, or other sources even outside the Bible, or like what the ancient church taught, the ancient Christians taught, I think it's ridiculous, like very, very far-fetched to say Jesus, actually completely outside of the point of what he tried to preach, to say that Jesus wanted to round up an army. That's like 180 from the point that he tried to make, because he actually, like the main thing Jesus was preaching was the kingdom of God. Right? The kingdom of God is something that across all Gospels is what was preached. The kingdom of God, which wasn't a kingdom that was meant to be like all the other kingdoms like Rome, Persia, where people round up, like you have an army and you go and invade. Like, no, it's not that. That,
Right.
like anybody,
So
any
you're
critical
just gonna
scholar
call
will tell you that.
No, I just cited
And
critical
even the
scholarship.
example, even when Jesus.
What are you on about? I just cited critical scholarship. What are you on about?
Which critical scholarship did you cite?
I just told you. SG
No, because I got kicked out of the room for like a minute.
Okay.
No, not a minute. Like 5 seconds. I don't know why my app was bugging. I got kicked out and came back.
Yeah, so there's this very famous book by Samuel George Brandon on Jesus being the zealot. And then, all the data points that I've mentioned, you'll find like more particular papers.
Like one thing. This is the thing. When we look at Christian, the wide range of people talking about Christianity or Jesus, you get all sorts of like ridiculous people. Like you get people that think, you make conspiracies like, Jesus was a lover of Mary Magdalene, like stuff like that.
I don't think
I'm not surprised that people, I'm not entirely surprised that people would think Jesus was trying to make an army, but to read the gospel, like the New Testament, and come to the conclusion that he tried to build an empire and go against Europe, come on, man, that's stupid.
So you're just gonna deny the evidence? But this is precisely our conversation.
No, it's not even the evidence that he provided. For example, when you cited a verse, Jesus says, "I didn't come to I came to bring the sword." But when you actually read it, what is he talking about? He's basically
so we have to trust you have to trust your post hoc mythic dilution of Jesus's essence.
No. I'm saying even the verse that he mentioned.
Jesus so there's this very recent book. By Fernando Rubio. It's called "They Suffered Under Pontius Pilate: Jewish Anti-Roman Resistance and the Crosses at Golgotha." So
you've read the New Testament and you thought Jesus was trying to be a general.
This guy is obviously not interested.
Yeah, if you're not interested in critical history and you want to just give us your personal.
I'm open, but to say this, I'm open to a certain respect. When people bring stupid things, I'm like, no, that's when I stop.
What's the stupid thing? What do you know that the critical
historians
know?
What the stupid thing is to believe that the historical Jesus wanted to have an army,
but you're acting
be the general of an army. That's stupid.
But gone. You're acting exactly like our other opponents, which are the dogmatist Muslims and the dogmatist Christians and the dogmatist Jews. We're trying to get rid of dogma, and you're a prime example of that. You're engaging in this conversation, not even beginning to care about
at the same time. You're taking a fringe view.
No, it's not fringe.
And you need to ask for the evidence. Ask them where you got it from. Go research it.
I mean, Elias already cited if you're interested in
every single time I have to crash out on you.
If you're interested, in actual critical history rather than this kind of.
So does Bart Ehrman believe this?
But I don't know. Did he, Elias?
Okay, so Bart
His kind of work was
for example, he's probably the most famous non-Christian critic of the Bible, historical Christianity, and so on.
So if
he was in this room and you told him, "Hey Bart, we think that Jesus wanted to be the general of an army that would conquer the world."
Yeah. So if Bart Ehrman, so is your is that kind of your?
I'm showing you because you're taking a very fringe view. For example, there's hundreds of books. There's hundreds of books on historical Christianity. Why do you go to a very fringe?
Name one.
Why do you go to a very fringe?
Name one.
Stop. Let me finish. Why do you go to one fringe book by some random dude that says this and tell me, "Hey, yeah, you have to accept this"? By the way,
which critical historian do you? Because either this is just your personal view, or it's evidence. What we care about is evidence, and critical historians do the work, right? But if you're just going to say, "I've read the gospel, bro," it kind of gave nice vibes.
I didn't say that. I said, I gave you an inference. I said, if you tell me that you went to this conclusion because you read one guy, then I'm going to have to ask you, why would you ignore?
Elias has already cited you.
Let me finish what I was trying to say.
Okay.
If you're saying that you're building this ridiculous view out of one book, why do you ignore hundreds of books that have been written about the historical Jesus and all the other scholars and historians that comment on Jesus that would completely laugh about what you said?
Okay, so which critical...
Like, one of them would be Bart Ehrman. I've never read Bart Ehrman, please say.
Okay.
And I've read most of his stuff. So, I mean, and he's the main guy at the front of Christianity. Like, he's the guy that's willing to go far-fetched to critique Christianity. And even he doesn't say this stuff. So, like, come on, dude. There's a point. It has to be a point, you know?
I don't know what, like, come on, dude, is supposed to do. So which critical historian are you citing? And by the way, you said one book. We haven't cited
Bart Ehrman. Bart Ehrman will tell you that the kingdom of God is not a physical kingdom.
Gone. I just want to remind you that you're wrong in what you said. It wasn't just one. Yeah, you have to let me finish, Gone. You were wrong and incorrect and misquoted.
Yeah, it's at least 3. Raza Aslan, what's his name? Rubio, and I just cited the work by Brandon. So
okay.
You got Brandon.
And how many people disagree with that view?
I don't have a statistical analysis of how many people disagree.
So you don't.
Brandon. So the problem is, you are really like being derogatory here. Brandon has published on this. Yeah, okay, this guy's not.
You drop Mike. You drop
If you're not interested,
You drop Mike.
if you're not interested in like an
Dude, it sounds like am I racist or something? I'm not racist.
Gone. Yeah, if you're not interested, with all due respect, we had a nice conversation, but if you're not interested in critical history or having like an intellectual discussion like this,
all I'm saying is I appreciate that you found a book that says this. That's fine.
No,
what about the hundreds of other people that disagree with that? What about that?
Gone. So it's not a book, is it? So you're wrong again.
Oh my God! All right, free books are free.
I'm so sorry, Gone. I can't keep getting interrupted. Either you're interested in an intellectual discussion with critical history, or you're not. I let you interrupt once. I let you misquote once. I let you interrupt twice. I let you misquote twice. I let you interrupt a third time and a fourth time, and you misquoted 3 or 4 times. Ilyas has not cited one book. You're wrong on that. Ilyas did not cite 2 books. You're wrong on that. Ilyas did not cite 3 books. He's given you 4. So either you're interested in history, or you're suggesting that the room just ignores critical historians and wants to know what Gon thinks about the Bible. Obviously, I'm going to go with evidence. Now, if you do have a critical historian, I've asked you 3 times, if you do have a critical historian that you're citing for your interpretation of the text of the Bible, then just present it. But, we can't have a conversation if we just keep laughing and call it ridiculous. I mean, that's what we would expect from any dogmatist. We just want the evidence. We want the argument. The problem is that there came generations after Jesus, and they mythicized Jesus, and they diluted his political movement. And they'll do things like this. They'll compare Muhammad to Jesus. What they should be doing, and what you, Gon, should be doing, is comparing Jesus to the Meccan Muhammad. If Jesus had a bit more strategy, like Muhammad, if he had a bit more forward planning, like Muhammad, arguably if he had a bit more intellect, like Muhammad, he would have managed to continue galvanizing an audience, galvanizing more following, avoided crucifixion, and eventually he would have managed to achieve, to some extent, to bring what he considered as the kingdom of God down to earth, which of course means violence, would have meant Jesus would have grabbed the sword, he would have killed, he would have massacred, he would have established a state, he would have had an army, because that is how you establish the philosopher king, or the kingdom of God, or the kingdom of Allah on earth. Jesus came to bring us all.
Just like 2 years ago in Journal of History, the study of the history of Jesus, which is like the foremost academic journal on the study of the history of Jesus.
Thanks, Elias.
You didn't answer my question when I asked you the question.
What was your question?
With the Arabic writing.
By the way, God
What's
hasn't
your
listened.
question?
God hasn't listened either, so just
No, I've listened to what he said. I've listened. Now it's my turn to see if you guys listen. Did you hear my question before I got kicked down?
When was your question phrased? In the first interruption, and the second interruption, or
The last question I asked, it was regards to whether or not he read the rest of academia on what the kingdom of God is and what Jesus' very basic, obvious teachings are.
Yeah, we can answer that question, but are you going to answer our question, which we posed first?
Okay, so answer the
question.
If you looked at past 4 books, right? What did the other books, hundreds of books, say? Do they say the same things as what?
No, hold on. You're the one who made the first claim. Go on. Okay, your claim was that Jesus, basically paraphrasing, Jesus didn't come to bring, establish an army or
he didn't.
to rule. Okay, so what critical historian are you citing for that? Or is it just your personal view?
Barton.
Okay, which book was that?
You can read his articles.
Yeah, which one? Do you mind? Because Elias has already given names. He's given. There's a link at the top. Do you mind giving us which particular work of Bart Ehrman you're relying on?
I don't have the particular article in mind. It's
That's
one
fine.
of his blogs.
Do you mind finding it? Because it'd be good to have for this discussion.
Yeah, I can find it. But before that, right?
Usually when people say that, they don't.
When I ask a question, and I still didn't get an answer. Right?
No, we'll give you an
That's
answer.
fine. Let's say, for example, I find a book that says Jesus was in love with Mary Magdalene. There's people that believe that, right? Mm-hmm. Do I take that one book and ignore the rest of it?
That's fine. That's okay. So would you mind finding that? So at least we can add it.
No, you're not answering my question.
Wait, can you please just give us the evidence?
Give him the article.
You're not answering the question.
Give him the article.
Go on. What's your question? Is your question to me or Elias?
Both of you, because you both take the same.
Okay, what's your question?
I don't mind which one of you answers. So
that's fine. What's your question to me?
So you posited, right? So you made the argument using your appeal to 4 books, right? Whether I'm not going to ask you why you believe 4 books out of the hundreds of books. That's your business. I don't really. It's going to be a long conversation. You want to believe what you want. The point is though, why do you appeal to 4 books that you found when majority of opinion doesn't agree with that?
Okay, so your question presupposes something, and I want to know if that's correct. So are you saying that the majority of modern academic scholarship into the political intentions of Jesus suggests that Jesus was not interested in establishing a state?
Yeah, because I would need evidence to believe that. You haven't provided evidence. 4 books is not majority.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's true. It may be true, but is it true? And what's your evidence?
Wait, so you cited you said that opinion of yours is found in these 4 books, right? So you think that 4 books represent majority of opinion?
You haven't posited even one. Hold on.
Okay.
You haven't posited
since there's
one.
hundreds of books,
Go
right?
find the article and come back.
Now, just 1 second.
Since there's there's hundreds of books.
You're not going to answer my question.
Plenty of scholars that talk about Jesus, the historical Jesus. Why don't they hold this opinion that you're giving? Why should I go with your opinion?
I'll just repeat the question. So you're suggesting that modern academic scholarship, critical historians who are working in modern academic scholarship on the political intentions of Jesus, say that the majority of them say that Jesus was not intended to establish.
I didn't ask that at all. You're not listening to me. Clearly you're not listening.
I've
asked you why. I said, why are you appealing to 4 books rather than the majority of them?
I'm asking you a clarifying question. So you're not listening. I wasn't posing this as a general question. I was clarifying what your point is.
All right, clarify away.
So it seems that you're saying that the majority of critical historians in modern academic scholarship say that on the political intentions of Jesus, it does not include him setting up a state. Is that what you're saying?
No. That is what I believe, but that's not what I said. That is a fact. I believe that's true, but that's not my point.
Is it a
I've
belief
asked
or a
you,
fact?
my point is this. I've asked you a very simple question.
No, I'm
justifying your epistemology here. I'm asking you to justify your epistemology. You're saying you've cited 4 books and ran with it as if that's a point, right? But my point is this. You cited 4 books. And I'm asking you, why are you going to 4 books and disregarding the hundreds of other books regarding the historical Jesus and taking a fringe opinion? Why is that? Why should I give you that? That's my point.
Don't give that to me. I just don't know if you've even presented any reason for us to
Are
be
you
convinced
going
of
to
your
answer your question, dude, or are you just going to
You
keep galloping?
you keep repeating this hundreds of scholars.
You're just
Can you
galloping.
cite one scholar? Can you cite one study?
Yeah, it sounds like you're quoting Bucky's office scholars with a different opinion.
Yeah, this is slow, bro. Like 1 out of 100. Just cite one study.
Every time.
Listen. Why presuppose that all the scholars give a proper position within this? And also, it could just be the case that for these scholars we cite have more convincing arguments within the scripture. I mean, why can't this not be the case?
Yeah, go on. What's happening?
No, but then at that point, I can also say that my interpretation of scriptures is
no one cares about your interpretation of scripture. I mean,
so why should I care about yours?
Cite a historical scholar whose opinion would actually be not anachronistic.
You said it 4.
You cited 4.
Go on. All we're asking for is just one. Like we don't need 4. Just give us one.
Don't answer my question.
Go on. I've answered all of your questions, and you keep saying I
No,
don't
you
answer your
didn't.
questions.
No, you didn't. I asked you to justify why you're taking this opinion rather than the others.
I'm not taking an opinion. We've presented. You've asked for reasons why we.
Okay. You
provided good reasons.
You said you believe.
Go on.
You believe you have justification to believe in the historical gene.
Okay. If anyone brings him up, he's all yours. I can't engage with someone who keeps interrupting and is making this unnecessarily polemical. He's asked me and asked us questions multiple times. We've answered every single question. The problem is that his question that he's been repeating recently keeps repeating a point that presupposes something. He is telling us that there are hundreds of books that oppose our view. We're just asking for one. Secondly, he's making a much stronger claim, which is that the majority of critical historians who work in modern academic scholarship into the political intent of the historical Jesus, not the fabricated, mythical Jesus just came to just be nice. No, the historical Jesus, what his political motivations and intent was. He's saying the majority of critical historians oppose our position or our view. That's fine. He may be correct. I'm just asking for evidence of that. But he keeps saying that we're not answering his questions. So yeah, if anyone wants to have him back up, I can't interact with someone who is just deflecting and someone who's just being intellectually dishonest and making this about him and us. It's not about Gon. It's not about me. It's not about Ilyas. What people may be interested in the room is, what was the political intent of the historical Jesus? Ilyas has presented 4 works. If Gon has just one, we certainly don't need 100. You're making a much bigger challenge for yourself. And it may be the case. I don't know. Just give us the evidence. But his initial, if you noticed, his initial appeal was basically, bro, look at the Bible, read the passage. Obviously, this is ridiculous. Where does Jesus want to create an army? Yeah, none of that's going to be convincing any rational inquirer into the historical Jesus. So, Gon, I suggest that if you're interested in the discussion, feel free to raise your hand. It won't be me having that discussion. It may be Ilyas or someone else who may tolerate your interruptions a bit more. Just give us your source. I mean, I don't really know. I'm interested to know. I'm interested to see what the other opinions are.
What will you read?
So let's see what Chuck has raised his hand. Let's just go through and see. There's quite a few comments. Chuck, would you like to?
So is gone? What is he? Is he a Christian?
I don't know.
Yes,
are you,
yes.
okay, I'm still waiting for the answer. Where? How?
I can go
Why?
find one of those.
I
This is
need
not
the
funny.
justification for your epistemology.
Talk to Baptizer
taking this
and
opinion.
Benny Adams. They will agree with these people.
Source.
Just let me
They
understand.
don't want to make Jesus. Wait 1 second. These guys don't care about making Jesus look a certain way. We don't care about that.
Gorgeous.
There's no
I
need.
don't
Like
know.
this is
I
not a
don't know what
polemical.
you're
This
talking
is not a polemical.
about.
Gone. Please mute your mic.
I don't know what you're talking about. I just need an answer to my question.
There are truth seekers in this room, right? No one's going against Jesus Christ or any particular archetype. I don't know why you think this is like a personal thing, right?
Signaling. Yes, thank you.
Go.
Can I now get
Don't
the
gaslight.
justification?
Don't gaslight. Go and find that one article.
Okay.
And then
Can I get the
from the
justification
100 from the
believe
100
their
views
position?
that you have from scholarship, posit that and then ask your question.
All right, thank you.
Because this is
Can
getting
I now have an answer to my question that I didn't get?
What's your question?
Why should I take why are they justified in taking that position and disregarding the other position? And I need to know, is this position that they posited majority or is it a fringe view?
Well, it's definitely not fringe, right? Because fringe views do not get past academic review, peer review in the best journal on the topic. So obviously it is not fringe.
So what? No. Just because something is best journal doesn't mean it's...
Okay, then you gotta define what do you mean by fringe, right? Because generally scholarship would be like, okay, if something is passing peer review at the highest level, then they obviously wouldn't call it with the derogatory term fringe.
So you
they might
think
call
because
it
something is
minority
peer reviewed,
position.
it's a high level?
No, not only
Do you
just
know what peer reviewed?
Peer reviewed at the highest, like the flagship journal on the topic, right? So I'm not saying, peer reviewed at Christian biblical review from
that is a
from
useless
Ann
standard.
Arbor. Okay, so it's obvious. Are you an atheist or what are you? Are you a Christian or an atheist?
Yeah, I'm an atheist. So now, since if it's not a fringe view, if it's not a fringe view, what view is it? Is it majority? Is it majority or?
Well, that's first clear. It's not a fringe view. Let's start from.
If you don't know the answer, you can say, "Hey, Gone, I didn't look into it. I don't know." You could just.
No. I know the answer.
Okay, then I'm expecting an answer in the next 5 seconds.
Yeah, we need to dig in from. Yeah. We need to first. You need to stop claiming it's a fringe view.
Then prove to me it's not a fringe view. Are you stupid?
No.
Like, I'm waiting for you. You're dodging. You're still dodging. Look how we're all seeing how you're stalling the time. You're still stalling for time and not answering my very simple question.
Okay.
What?
So he's just completely devolved. Let's just remind ourselves what's happened most recently. He made a claim that it's a fringe view. I'll repeat that again. He made the positive claim that it's a fringe view. Who has the burden to demonstrate that it's a fringe view? If you're a Muslim or a Christian or an atheist, doesn't matter what you are in the room, put it in the comments. Put body back. No, put it in the comments. Who has the burden of proof, given that he's the one that's made the positive claim that it's a fringe view? Body bag in the comments. Unbelievable. Look, this is how we detect. You know, when I was having a conversation with him earlier, it was okay. Everyone has a dogma. Everyone has a dogma. Incredible.
He's
making the claim.
He thinks you're like polemical Muslims. I want to make Jesus look bad.
Bro, just give me a conversation, right? But we hit a nerve. We hit a nerve. The nerve is, oh shit. Are they comparing Jesus to Muhammad? Is this not going to take away from Jesus's veneer? of just coming to bring peace, just a walking sage, not interfering. Yeah, I kind of want God's kingdom on earth, but it's just a suggestion. Like, if you want it, do you want God's kingdom on earth?
So, and he was supposed to die on the cross. This is their narrative.
Yeah, of course, he was crucified, but no, he wanted to die on the cross.
He wanted to.
He wanted it. Yeah, he didn't want to, like, revolutionize the population. He just came as just a suggestion, just thinking. You want it? You don't have to have it. You just, if you like, you like.
Resurrection was a necessity, therefore he had to.
Yeah, just someone waving a little banner. Hey guys, you know, like on the churches they do today. Jesus loves you. I'm coming back though.
They made this very natural, bro. This is so fun.
What's the sexy accent for?
When he went up on the cross.
I'm going with it. You know, love you. Don't you want to, like, do anything, Jesus? Like, actually, like, have any? No, not really. Just kind of a suggestion. This is the Jesus that God wants us to believe. For no reason, by the way. No evidence. He hasn't given us any evidence. He's just attacking our evidence, which is exactly what any dogmatist would do.
Was he trying to say, why aren't we using the four Gospels? Is that what his point was?
No, he's saying, why are you comparing
That's literally one of his points.
this Mongol Chinggis Khan of a man that is Muhammad to Jesus? He tried very hard to make that comparison first. He tried to make that equation first.
Well, firstly, Buster, the other dogmatist, and Gon. First, they were going with, let's put Genghis Khan in the same category. Like, by the way, Gon didn't even.
I never said Genghis Khan.
No, well, maybe it was
No,
someone else.
Buster did not. Buster was
I said
being very perennialist. He was including all the.
Oh yeah, but like Gon and someone else, I can't remember who it was, but Gon was basically saying, yeah, like Genghis Khan, like, bro. I don't know. Like, these people are grown men having these views. I don't understand.
Because they both had an army, so they're the same.
Yeah, Genghis Khan too. No, he was a conqueror, right? So all they know in their polemical
What about Hitler, guys?
Muhammad as a conqueror, as a freaking womanizer. These are their polemics, debate points. I know them by heart by now. None of them academic. They're just, Jesus is better than your Muhammad, who's a false prophet.
Yeah. What about Hitler? Yeah, Hitler was not interested in the maximization of global well-being. He was interested in the maximization of well-being of the Aryan race. So
it was kind of well-being, but it's a different sort of way, I guess.
Yeah, the whole objective is different. Yeah. And I think that he was probably highly neurotic as well.
He worked for the well-being of the Germans, perhaps, right? A philosopher king, like, works for the well-being of the entire collective, the family.
Yeah,
he's not
tribeless. And people say, you see, the thing is, it's unbelievable. Dogmatists all even speak the same way. They'll say, it's just like a tiny difference. Bro, that tiny difference is everything. The difference in angle between the hydrogen atoms and the oxygen atom is the very reason why we're alive today. Yes, tiny difference, massive, massive impact. The Mickey Mouse structure of the water molecule is the reason we can even exist. Just people are just, I don't know. I ask again, did these people not go to school?
Dude, and they asked if what his beliefs are. He's like, I'm an atheist, but I'm offended that you think Jesus. I'm offended that you think Jesus didn't turn the other cheek.
God is a Catholic. You have to have metaphysical discussions with him. Oh my God, you go mad. It's crazy. It's really bad.
It's also why Reza Aslan, when he came up with Jesus the Zealot, he was attacked. I mean, he's not a critical historian, but he made some waves. Yeah, people just don't like their dogmas being challenged.
That's natural, right?
Like, beforehand, he was arguing about, he doesn't have any dogma, and it's not something that.
Yeah, we search, and we find.
Oh, we find dogma everywhere. We are the finders of dogma.
Hunters, dogma.
Hunters of dogma.
Dogma hunters.
By the way, I've compiled a list for next time somebody asks.
Oh yeah, it's good. Yeah, share it. We can.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in like a better format. So, if you want a rough draft, I can send a rough draft right now.
Did Gunn even ever like produce one? Did he ever cite anything? He didn't cite anything.
No, the funny thing was he was calling it like French. Bro, at least, like if something is published in like a flagship journal of the topic, I wouldn't at least call it French, like, isn't that like basic common sense?
Yeah, well,
like imagine if like a minority position is like getting published in Nature, for example, right? Or Science. Would you call it French?
I don't think so.
Yeah, you might call it minority at the best, in the most liberal sense, but it's just irrational to call it French. That's just illogical, to be honest.
Why didn't he just say his question?
I've sent her out.
Yeah, it's hardcore.
Oh, thanks so much.
Why did he call himself an atheist? I'm trying to understand this.
Trying to be like,
is he ashamed of being Christian, or like?
No, he's like saying, like, treat me like an atheist, like, be objective.
Yeah, but he's clearly not being objective because he's
Yeah,
reinterpreting the Bible. He's doing tafsir of the biblical verse about the sword.
He's saying you guys are doing your own, and I can do my own. Like, as though it's like a personal polemical thing.
He's like, boom.
So I read this passage.
Jesus would roll in the heavens if he heard what God was saying, and all the majority of Christians.
Let's just like Baptizer and Benny like take pride in this Jesus to come, right, with the sword. And they have this sort of like his friends who he can talk to. And freaking like they'll explain to him that Jesus was not this. There are two kinds of Christians, the pacifists, like the red flaggers and the black flaggers. The pacifists and then those who are a fringe group like those who acknowledge the Bible and would say like, no, he did come to like turn the tables. He was not one of those.
Wasn't the pacifist Jesus just a concoction of the Roman Nicene Creed, just to like create this like useless, docile religion for the goyim?
Yeah, pretty much like the occultation legend.
Yeah, the 12ers that just sit around waiting for a ghost to come.
Waiting for Jesus to come back with the sword, right? So till then, we don't harm anyone. We don't seek for justice. I think there are many attractions within Christianity, much like other religions, that are pacifist, waiting for the savior to arrive.
But the enemy is not pacifist. The enemy of your religion, they're not pacifists. You are. So tell me your enemy didn't create your religion for you. It's a conflict of interest here.
Or you're just too chickenified or whatever. Like,
I don't need to fight. Oh, thank God I have Jesus. I don't have to fight. I just let the world go to shit. Just not feel burdened by it. I was waiting for Jesus.
Jesus was a non-nationalist fascist.
how does his personality change that dramatically upon his return? Like, it doesn't. It's just not right.
What a perfect alibi, like God asks you on the day of judgment, what did you do for humanity? He's like, dude, I was just waiting for Jesus. What did you want me to do? He's gonna be like, who told you to do that? You did.
I mean, obviously,
did I?
We got talks, is it? I think like things like reform and just like taking the freaking spirit of the word, not the letter, like Paul would advise, made Christianity not just expand but also, survive. So reform brought about a lot of like scope for survival, I think, within Christianity. And that's a good thing. Like that's a positive.
Well, depends.
It kept up with the times.
It sounds like a sharpshooter fallacy.
I mean, it's just you can refute it by saying it was a survival mechanism.
Yeah, but so what survived? That's the point. The myth survived.
Nevertheless, like it still love and peace and things like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like probably would have I don't know what kind of peace.
Well,
I mean, just show me the itinerary of the last 2,000 years.
yeah, I was gonna say not so peaceful.
Like personal peace, maybe, I guess. I think it would have been better if democratic systems were set up, or just one actually. Maybe I should rule the world.
Make it a better place.
I think CM has been heavily suppressed recently, so let's bring him up.
Did you get him off, please? I missed him.
Given that he's Latino, who hates Che Guevara,
It's Colombia.
he hates South American liberation. He loves capitalism.
I mean, he's not even a Rambian like me. Like an Iron
What are you guys
fan.
talking about, bro? I'm not even gonna stay here because you guys mod abuse. Fucking.
I will
Anyways,
protect you, Sia.
uh,
I love them.
dude, this is like the nightly like cult session. Yes, I mean yesterday Matthew was CM solve every single problem in existence right now. Like, that's what you were telling me. What are you? And I was explaining. I was actually making points. What you're saying sounds a lot like again utopian, cultural, Marxist, historical materialism. Like you didn't answer none of that. You just went on. I don't even know if there's any point in talking. I'm not gonna stay. I get too much mod abuse. You've never talked to me when you're not a mod. Have you noticed that? Never have. I don't think never will. It's bad.
With great power comes great responsibilities.
Yeah, this
And
is
then you
why.
think he should be like the next philosopher.
If you
It's a
had
giant
read Ayn Rand and her book We the Living,
I
her
have read
philosophy
that.
on capitalism, you could have refuted them yesterday, right? Since you were standing for capitalism. So how many
wasn't
times do you
standing
mock
for
me for being an
capitalism.
Ayn Rand fan?
Hold
How
on.
many?
I wasn't standing for capitalism, but I'm against any utopian BS. Like I don't believe in utopian stuff.
Yeah.
And I used to be a socialist. Like I used
No
to
one
be.
advocated. Yeah, so you're wrong again.
You're trying to solve every problem, and you think some
Yes.
magical person is gonna do it. It's
No.
absurd.
No, again, you're wrong. You had a long.
Show me. How am I wrong?
What do you mean? How can I show you that you're wrong? You made a claim and it's wrong. How can I show you that?
Well, how am I wrong about? Again, you think some magical philosopher came, fucking
No.
Jesus and Buddha and Einstein all in one. It's gonna like just roll up and like save the universe.
No.
Unbelievable.
No, you're wrong. Your perception of reality is wrong. You're bad at tracking.
Years, dude.
This man said Jesus is Buddha. That's fine as well.
I respect that idealism, but you're a little too old for that.
You're no different to Quran Talks, Dr. Z. You're terrible at tracking.
You can just say that. Like, nobody here, nobody in the audience.
You're the queen of straw manning.
Nobody here, nobody in the audience is buying that.
Okay. Nobody in the audience. So 1 second. So CM made 3 incorrect, wrong statements about me. Number 1, he said, we want to strive for utopia. That's wrong. In fact, on at least 10 occasions yesterday and in multiple rooms, we said we don't believe in utopia. So he's wrong on that because he doesn't have
You're
understanding.
trying to get some kind of
Second.
utopia.
Yeah.
Are you
Let me
not?
finish. The second mistake, blunder that CM made because he can't track is that he said magical. We don't believe in magic or magical. So CM is wrong, incorrect on that too. It's because he doesn't have understanding. He doesn't
There's
track.
hope that like somebody's gonna magically save the day. It's either magical or naive.
The third thing,
Worst case.
the third reason why CM is wrong and incorrect and has failed miserably to understand or track a conversation is that he said we believe it's just going to happen. No, we don't believe it's just going to happen. we
Not
believe
some
in
cause
cause to like fix it. We believe in cause and effect. So CM is wrong
Again,
and
you
incorrect
didn't actually address
and
my
has
question. How are you
continued
deriving morality?
to make blunders from one room to another room.
Again, you cannot have a discussion. Actually address the points. How are you deriving morality from science? Explain to me that much.
That wasn't me. He's so and just
Why?
if anyone needs reminding, no group likes him.
Yeah. By the way, I sent a message. If you see.
Oh, nice job. He's such
Bro, he has some like mental issues. He
definitely.
clearly cannot track like. There's some serious problem here. Like, he cannot track for his life, right? Like, even if his life it's not an intentional issue, right? Like, even if his life depended on it, he will not be able to track a conversation.
Yeah. But Nargis thinks he can.
Yeah, because as I have famously said, Nargis would take up an amputee and then walk with the amputee for a few minutes and say, "See, the amputee can walk."
I can't believe this. I can't believe these trainers.
Matthew fears me. I mean, have you met anyone who works in science who is as delusional, as woo-woo as CM? Matthew fears me. But now he left his speech. What an absolute moron.
I vote CM for Mikhail, just saying.
Oh, yeah.
What's going on with him, Mikhail? He got kicked out of a room. He's opened rooms. He's so upset. He's taking out on me. He's taking out on Iran.
Have you ever seen a Gazan hate Iran? Have you ever seen a Gazan hate Iran? Yeah, that's Mikhail.
I just want to say, the reason there is no enjoyment in talking to people like CM is like he's never gonna present like a shubha, At least with this other guy, obviously it was copium. He was doing copium, but what copium? Like, if he had not done this copium, we would not have this like tentative.
Really nice.
So those kind of shubuhat are actually, those copiums, shubuhat are actually good.
Like Chuck.
Next, yeah, like Chuck sometimes. Like Jonah, like Chuck. Yeah, so but CM just cannot track the conversation. So
yeah, he's not going to be able to contribute. But yeah, exactly. We need to look. That's what we're on the search for. The problem is that when they present the shubha, but they just start kind of devolving.
Oh yeah, that's obviously gonna happen. But the thing is, you write down the shubha and you keep it to yourself. So at least you can do something about it for the next time.
Yeah.
CM and I had a major fallout because I called him a dogmatic atheist. Because he is a dogmatic, he was kind of as a dogmatic religious atheist. And then we blocked each other and we had lots of fights.
By the way, sorry, يا مفضل.
So, bro.
I'm gonna send you. Let's see if you have.
Okay.
Mufaddal, is that Hadi your photo?
That's Imam Tawhidi.
Did you even say, is that Hadi?
What about Hadi?
Yeah, I already knew you were a donkey, but he's just a bigger donkey.
What happened to Tawhidi?
Karma.
What the fuck? What happened? Yeah, but what kind of karma?
It's this thing where it's called like fuck around and find out.
Oh, fuck. No way. Let me go read up. Your Baranami Festi, she should that?
I don't know yet, but apparently Mufaddal has access to this photo, and he shouldn't.
The heck, Mufaddal?
Mufaddal, do you have the access or
I'm
not?
looking for it. Yeah. What's up, my Persian queen?
My father's a bit distracted right now.
That's fine.
No, I'm looking for it, man. Just give me a
Did you say
second.
what's up, my Persian queen?
No, he would never say something.
Never. Yeah, it's here, bro.
Yeah, send it. Send it in the group.
Wait, who just kicked me?
Is it gonna maximize the
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Yo, man.
What?
I love you. I love you too, Baba.
You know,
Does he-
he loves you too.
Oh, yeah.
You think of Muslim, Muslim sends it.
Yeah, man. If it's gonna promote Humanism, I'll be at your service.
Hey, Mufaddal, your IG's not working, man. You probably want to fix that.
My IG?
It's working for this account.
No, it's not.
Just because you are blocked or ignored by people doesn't mean you're
I've got multiple accounts.
Don't worry.
Yeah,
I'll change that.
Yeah,
No,
that's that.
see? Look at that.
I'm not called the Shadow Majnun. I'm called Mystical Majnun. Did you receive?
Yes, it has been received.
Say
So now we can actually put the actual article.
Say once you receive it.
I already received it.
After hours.
And let me put it up. MashaAllah.
It's really good for you.
Copy link. That has become a part of our drive.
MashaAllah.
The hypothesis according to which Jesus and his group were somehow involved in anti-Roman resistance has been systematically opposed by some quarters through the centuries. One of the most recent examples is Jesse P. Nichols' The Things That Make for Peace, Jesus and the Eschatological Violence, a book whose author boldly claims to have refuted the hypothesis. The present article surveys this volume, concluding that it contains several misunderstandings of the field and method, as well as serious misrepresentations of the hypothesis under discussion, to the extent that everything indicates that it is influenced by theological presuppositions. These conclusions are not limited because Nichols' book is representative of a much wider trend within the field. Then he starts with a quote. Ancient history is a favorable field for charlatans.
MashaAllah.
Arnaldo Mobigliano
Our marja
and roasts.
our marja in roasting the pacifists. Alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah, good work. Man, we're always winning. We win against traditionalist Sunnis, we win against atheists, we win against traditionalist Shias, we win against Salafis, we win against agnostics, we win against the kuffar.
We can't beat Chuck for some reason. Chuck's got our number.
No, apart from Chuck, we can win everyone except Chuck.
MashaAllah.
Chuck is just undefeatable. Undefeatable. And if any of you are fasting right now, don't look at Chuck's next picture in his PTR.
Why? What is it? Is it meat or something? Chunk roast?
Yes. It's a meat.
Oh, it's locked anyways for me, so I tried to.
You gotta
Yo, what was your name, Chuck?
You gotta pay $4.99 to subscribe. Thanks, Matthew.
No, it was Wajah, motherfucker.
Oh, was you the who was friend with Magdalena?
Magdalena? Yeah.
Was you the friends with Magdalena?
That was me. That was me.
We used to call him Badge.
Oh my
I used to call him
Matthew, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the kid.
Veggie.
Bro, look at this article. Look at this article by him.
Oof.
Take off at this freaking 105 pages.
Oh, this is the same guy, Fernando Rubio.
Bruh, I need to just sit down and read through this article.
Read in the name of your Lord.
105 pages, for God's sake. That's like one of the longest articles I've seen.
Oh, how to even write that much? Like, why does he even go through it now? Have you read it before?
Bruh, that's crazy.
I'm so sick of winning.
I'm so sick of love songs.
For real. India girl is back.
These accounts.
She criticized me for something yesterday. I can't remember what it was.
Have you seen Modi? Little Modi?
Modi's
Visit. Yeah, to Israel.
he's getting his share of Epstein girls. Modi's definitely been around.
The block.
Modi definitely knows all the hotspots.
Did you hear his speech about like Israel being the fatherland and India being the motherland?
Yeah, I heard that.
What was that about?
Oh my god. And the way that he was so proud. He's like, yes.
Hey, look at this Pakistani hating on the Indians. Look at this.
Oh yes. Look at this Persian being offended for Indians. Look at this.
I feel offended for all of
No, you don't. If I was making fun of Pakistan, you'd be laughing along. You sell out.
No, I wouldn't.
Don't see that.
Oh,
I chapli kebab. Oh yeah, you would, Nargis. Come on.
Never.
Nargis gets grossed out by chapli kebabs. Because it's not Indian. She only does job for it.
You don't like chapli kebabs?
No, she doesn't.
I don't eat meat, though. I don't kill animals. Like you motherfuckers.
Okay.
we don't
It's
kill
not
animals.
just kebab.
She doesn't kill animals except when she goes to Bandar and has a nice kebab bag.
I don't eat kebab. I haven't eaten in 10 years.
Let's do another version of the trolley problem. Nargis,
No, I'm not engaging you. No.
would you slit the throat of an animal really, really painfully and slowly if it means that no animal will ever suffer ever again?
Oh, damn.
Yes.
Subhanallah.
I
Will you
said
slit
yes.
the throat
We.
of a baby? Will you slit the throat of a baby really slowly and painfully if it means that no baby will ever suffer again?
Silence is the best answer to fools.
That's a typical atheist question. Let me take this a step further. Would you slit the throat of a bear knowing that no man will suffer again afterwards?
Absolutely. Nice one, Hadi. Hadi knows exactly where the dogma's at.
Yeah, I would.
There we go.
This one I
You're
would.
like, no, I'd rather all men suffer before
Suffering
I
is
kill
truly painful.
I will do anything to reduce human suffering.
But I want that.
You know, listen, I'll draw the line when it comes to that, you know.
That meatloaf instead.
As in anything?
That was good, Nagi. That was good.
Pastor, obviously these people don't have a sense of humor, and Matthew's lost his
It makes sense of like culture. Like,
Matthew's
That's
getting
true sacrifice.
Yeah,
You're
that's what
willing to
culture
go
is, like,
to any length to reduce your suffering.
anything for love, but I won't do
Yeah, for
that.
love of the match.
There was a guy, there was a sheikh.
Let me put the other article as the,
Pin it. Listen, there's a Palestinian sheikh. Somebody asked him, they were like, if I liberate Palestine, can I then marry the Israeli woman? He was like, bro, if you liberate Palestine, I'll make you fuck my mother.
Oh, God. I trust the white Brit to laugh at that.
I mean, this shit, we got it right, man.
Shame on your character. Shit.
You know, Mufaddal is great at delivery as well. I don't know what it is. Mufaddal is funny.
He's damn funny.
Thank you.
His delivery is awesome.
He says it so calmly.
Oh my God. There we go. Jesus and the anti-Roman resistance. Let me see what's the abstract for this. MashaAllah. Although the hypothesis according to which Jesus the Galilean was involved in anti-Roman rebellious thinking and activity has been advanced since the 18th century, it is now held only by a minority of New Testament scholars. The aim of the present article is to carefully survey the arguments supporting that hypothesis and at the same time putting them forward in a novel way. I contend that the cumulative effect of these arguments is compelling and that only a reconstruction of Jesus in which the aspect of anti-Roman resistance is consistently contemplated deserves credibility. The essay argues that there is in the Gospels a great amount of material which points precisely in the direction of a sedition Jesus, that this material configures a recurrent pattern, and that this pattern enjoys the highest probability of historicity. Furthermore, I evaluate different interpretations of which try to make sense of the pattern, with the aim of deciding which of them is historically the most plausible. The essay then argues that the hypothesis as advanced here has the greatest explanatory power, that the proposed alternatives are unconvincing and often far-fetched, and that every objection leveled against the hypothesis can be reasonably countered. Finally, I point out the disastrous implications for scholarship of the dismissal of the seditious material and the correlative rejection of the hypothesis. How often have I said to you that whenever you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth?
And Black Rabbi left.
For Antonio, Gonzalo, James, Joseph, and the conspicuous minority of scholars who look at Jesus of Nazareth without theological blinkers. Bro, I love this man. This guy's W, bro.
We should invite him to a clubhouse room.
Yeah, they'll have a beautiful conversation in Spanish. Ayatollah Fernando Bermejo Rubio. Forgive me for mispronouncing your name.
Bermejo.
Bermejo.
Rugio.
MashaAllah. That sounds good.
I was waiting for that. I knew you'd do it.
Los pollos hermanos.
Ninguna.
I changed the title. I replaced the sword with Imam Khomeini because it's basically the same thing.
God, man.
I just thought I'd make it more.
Okay, why do you hate Khomeini now? I know you
I don't hate. I'm just saying, like, you guys are not seeing through that.
You know, I look at Khomeini videos
Anyway,
nowadays and I just start crying. I wish I was alive when you were around, my prophet. Oh, and then I saw this video of Khomeini standing by himself and I just started crying again.
They're not the same.
Oh yeah, you weren't alive when Khomeini was alive, were you?
Yeah, he died 4 years before I was born.
Oh wow. I was 7 when he.
Wait, how you were that young? No way.
I was 7 when Allah raised him to himself.
It appeared as though.
You know what's my fitra was always on the right path, because my parents were going to the Sefarat in Tehran for Iqamat, and the guy closed the doors and I needed to get the application to go to Turkey to come to Canada. And then he's like, sorry, I'm closed. And I was a little baby, like 2 years old, and I saw Khomeini's picture there, and I'm like, hey mom. And the guy opened the door and let them in, just because of me. So I said, wow, all the Medgar stuff, man. My baby Hadi knew Khomeini was my imam.
One of my earliest memories was like just running and sliding around the mausoleum of Imam Khomeini.
That sounds like you. Ooh, slippery ground. So ice skating.
Yeah, just run and just like slide.
Haram Mutahar, they call it nowadays, you know that? They call Khomeini's mausoleum Haram Mutahar.
I know.
That's we honor our prophets.
Yeah. And also, not just, obviously, we also honor Bibi Sarafi, his wife, Bibi Khadija. I mean, his wife's name is literally Khadija.
Sorry about that.
No, they shut down the shrine.
Khadija, sallallahu alayhi.
Abdullah shrine in Iran. They had to put a barricade around it because of the amount of flowers that were being thrown in.
It's in Kashan, right? It's in Kashan.
Yeah. Notice they had to put like a metal barricade of some sort because people were like, there's something more than that. There's a song. It's so messed up.
Have you guys read Ziyarat al-Khomeini?
What? I've written.
Khomeini has it?
Yeah.
It's a copy of Ziyarat al-Waritha, but has Khomeini in it.
What? I have one. I've written one for Khamenei. It's basically. Actually, I've written one for Nasrallah. It's basically like Ziyarat al-Ashura, but repurposed.
Who are you cursing throughout?
But it's in English, it's not in Arabic, so I need to get.
Allahumma and how many times and who?
It's kind of crazy because I didn't have to change much. That's when I realised. Oh, shit.
You have to get a little taste of it. You have to get a little bit.
Well, no, I'm gonna find it, but yeah, I wrote it and I realised, oh shit, like it's kind of I can't do much with it. So then I tried it with something else, and I realised I can't change it much either. Then I realised, oh shit, isn't that like a signal?
Then Matthew was like, oh, let's write one for Sistani. Like,
Exactly, I have to change everything.
Hey, did you know one of Sistani's representatives said that meme circulating that Sistani said if anybody attacks Ayatollah Khamenei, there will be a fatwa of jihad? That's fake. And Sistani's office never said that.
I did know that in one sense.
But one of their own representatives were like, no, we would never say such a thing.
So we wouldn't be surprised, but let's be honest.
But I didn't know that was like a.
They're offended by it. Like,
that's retarded.
we would never say such a thing.
Like, you took it personally too long.
Yeah. Can you believe that? They just don't want to upset their masters,
They presented the post to Sistani side-eyed his representative, like jihad. What's that?
So the Sunnis in other rooms, right? Like my friends, they're like, oh, if Khamenei is attacked, the Shia world, Sistani, and all of them, the whole world will rise and things like that. Maybe do that here on the other side. They assume that.
I think one of the reasons why Imam Khomeini was so based is because of his Hindi roots.
Oh my god, I used to remember. Oh, his mom was Indian or something like that. Like so.
That may go fast. He's not even Iranian.
It's Indian.
Like as if it's a curse. And what? And then what?
Oh, that reminds me of like one of my biology teachers. He was like the biggest fan of his Shah support, but they'll keep going on about Khomeini. He wasn't even a Persian. He's not Iran. He's Indian. And he uses talking point over and over again for no reason in his lessons.
Oh, which reminds me, I forgot to say Javid Shah today. I say it like a zikr every day. Hate me by that. They're so mean.
Javid Shah Falsafi.
Javid Shah. Shah Falsafi.
So would you support anti-Semitism? And this is too much influence to you?
That's a rule.
Too much influence, and then some guy, and a Jewish guy fixes the problem.
You care more about Israel than you do
You should be saying thank you.
You care more about Israel than you said this
I
in your
never
own
said
mouth.
that.
You said you voted for Trump because of Israel, which
No, I
came
said I voted for Trump because he's the best man for the job.
You said who was better for Israel?
No, I said
That's
immigration.
exactly what you said. I'm never asking you the question. No, I'm not.
Excuse me, immigration,
I remember
wars, and the economy is why I voted for
Of
Trump.
course I voted for Trump. He was best for Israel.
I
That's
didn't
exactly
say
what you said.
no.
That's exactly what you said.
Excuse me, immigration, foreign, you're mistaken.
No, I'm
I'll
not
tell
mistaken.
you right now why I voted for it.
You only and you're changing your tune.
No, immigration, foreign, shut up, Brent.
You said
Immigration,
shut
foreign,
up.
shut up. Immigration, foreign wars, and the economy.
Just at least
I'll talk to you like that. You're a terrorist. You're gonna blow yourself up.
Okay, I have a recording of you sitting in a private room with what's his name, John Kitover, and you told him, don't wait a second, please. We told him, don't tell
Recording rooms like crazy.
No, not me. It wasn't me.
So why you have a recording?
I don't record. People know me.
So, but why are you talking about a recording?
Wait a second, because you said in the recording.
Yes.
In
That I
confidence.
voted for Trump.
No, you told him.
It's not a secret. He was the best man for the job.
No, you probably disagreed at Prince.
Trump is
Look here.
Look, you voted for Trump and I voted for Trump.
No, I don't care.
Yeah, but I voted for
I'll
Trump.
tell you what.
But I voted for Trump because he's best for America.
I agree with you.
And
Harris was a
Oh,
disaster.
Norma, please let him finish.
Everybody's finishing. 70%
Okay, nobody can finish because you
voted
keep
for Trump.
talking.
This is all you can do is interrupt?
This is what you're doing. Shut up.
I just need 5 seconds, no, then you can talk again.
You have to find 77 million Americans voted for Trump.
Oh my God.
I'm
Epic, please.
You said in confidence that you don't.
I said in confidence that I voted for Trump. That's correct.
No, that's not what you said. That's
Yeah,
not what
it
you said.
is what I said.
Okay, let me say it.
Somebody play the goddamn. You know what? Just play the fucking recording. I'm sick of listening to this shit.
But he's gonna interrupt anyway, so it doesn't matter. So
I'll move him down if he interrupts. Just play it.
Let's talk about what we were talking
okay,
about.
basically, he said, "I vote. Don't tell anybody. I'm a Democrat.
Yeah.
I voted
No,
Trump
I
because he's
don't
better
tell
for
the
Israel."
Democrats, right? Because I'm a
You said
Democrat.
you voted for Trump because
No,
he's
I
better
did
for
not say
Israel.
that.
I swear to God, you said that. You're a liar.
Play the recording.
Okay. Yeah, play the recording. If you have
Okay,
it, that's that.
Let me bring it. Hold on.
This is one of the best cases against mass immigration. We have foreigners feuding in here based off of side of our country. It's not cool. Not cool at all.
You said it's February 12th. Of course I voted for Trump. It was better for Israel. 9:08 p.m.
Where did
February
Prince
12th.
go? How do you know that?
Because when he played, we all erupted, and I was like, "Can you repeat that?" And he doubled down. And so I said in my Telegram group, "Did you guys just hear what
I didn't move
Norton said? He
Prince.
let it slip."
Say again?
I didn't move Prince, so I got.
No, I didn't move
No,
Prince.
he's not even in here.
Yeah, it's weird. Hey, Norman left too.
Well, he left, but I don't know. Prince is probably trying to dig up a recording from 3 years ago.
Why can't they just be honest about it? They care more about Israel than they do the U.S.
Okay, I'm getting
No,
the recording too.
They do. No, there is like a real Israel first, a problem amongst these quote unquote. I'm just going to focus on my own party. I don't really give a fuck about the Democrats, but you do get there are like the real Israel firsters, and you have the faggot, retarded evangelical Christians, which are not even Christians. You guys are heretical, and you're going to die in hell, you fucking pieces of shit. Fuck all of you. And when it comes to the Jews, I can kind of get why you do what you do, but it's not. Look, we are not Jewish. The 98% of the country is not Jewish. We care about America, not your fucking country.
People can vote for whatever reason. You can vote for Trump because you think he's good looking, because you think he's ugly, because you love his policy, because you hate his policy. It doesn't matter. But the problem here is not the motive of why he voted for Trump, because he has the freedom to do so. The problem here is continuously deceiving people, hiding it as if it's not apparent. And we
He just lied to me.
Yeah,
He just lied to me about it, Bruce. He just straight up lied to my face. I remember this. I made a note of it. I was laughing about it because I was like, "Oh, you finally tell the truth." And he's like, "Yes, I voted for the president that is best for Israel." That's his prerogative.
Ben Shapiro's literally made this point that his loyalty to the U.S. is dependent upon like what benefit the U.S. has on Israel, and we are supposed to listen to this Jewish guy, Ben Shapiro, as if we're like one of him. No, he's a tribal person. He literally only looks at us as a vehicle that can basically advance the lives of his people. But somehow, he wants to brand himself as patriotic. He has a bunch of fucking Catholics working for him. Which are fairly talented, to be fair.
I mean, you do realize that Jewish veterans of foreign wars is a real thing, right? Like American Jews died fighting for the liberty of this country, for you and me, for everybody
Yeah,
here.
they did. But what's really funny is that you look at the representation of Jews. No, I'm dead
They
serious.
also carried out the biggest espionage crime in America.
No. We're not talking. Yeah, I don't want to talk. Hold on. We're not talking about Israelis. So, if we're to look at, sure. Hold on. No, hold on.
Jonathan Pollard wasn't Israeli though.
Yeah, he wasn't. Yeah, absolutely not. And so you do have this problem. Okay, so one of the problems I see is that you have Jews that have done very well in this country, and then they're going to be very sympathetic naturally, which I think any of us would be if we were a small ethnic group like them. We'd be supportive of the little state that they get to call their own. It's all of you can say like, oh yeah. That's natural. All of us would do that. So I don't want to hear the bitching. I do think I'm not
next 3 months more.
Yeah, I'm not co-signing like what it is that they do, but most of us.
You would lobby the American government to invade a country that you have more loyalty to?
I would say that, imagine I was like 0.2% of the population, and there's like one little country I can call home, and of course we've been like not treated well.
They moved there. Why don't they go back? Yeah, if that's their home, then they should all go.
No, I get it, but the weird thing is,
wait, hold on. If you're gonna say this, then you should just be fine with all minorities doing this. Somalis, I mean, everyone.
Yeah, Liberians. Why can't all the Liberians just go back to Liberia? I'm sick of hearing about these Liberian complainers on this app.
What I'm trying to say is that, like, okay, Jews have had a bad run, at least since Roman times. They have this one little country they can call home. Well, I don't know.
What year is it? Is it 600 or is it 2026? I can't remember what year it is.
John, before I kick you out. So you have, like, what is it, 1 million or 2 short Jews that live here. They tend to be successful in comparison to the rest of us. It's just a fact. Now they're sympathetic towards Israel, and it so happens to be that, like,
there's only 30 million Hindus living in this country, uber successful, running our entire medical industrial complex. It's called the Hindus.
Yes. So it so happens to be that half of their population lives in a country that's the most powerful, and they're very successful here. And they absolutely leverage the ever-mother-loving shit out of it, to the benefit of Israel.
Continue.
What do you want me to continue?
I think we lost.
No, I was saying that, like, why don't we do that for who? Dominicans? Dominicans have one little country. Okay, but they're Catholic, which is like a billion plus people in the world. They're Hispanic, which is hundreds of millions, hundreds of millions.
It's a problem with they have two Islamic group, Jewish, white, black. I don't know.
We agree. Yeah, we agree there.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who's doing it. What matters is having that much influence and power. That's the real problem.
Yeah, okay, you're preaching to the Zionists and Jews have. I forget the name of the Jew, or excuse me, Christian, or actually Catholic priest. You said in the 1950s, it's like having a television in your living room is like having a Jew in your living room. I advise against it.
Those Archbishop Lefebvre.
And I absolutely agree with it. Like, I do not think that. Yeah, Nixon, and I agree with a lot of what Nixon had to say. I also agree with what, like Harry Truman. Have you seen what they had to say about Jews and Israelis? A lot of it was true. Like, these people were not these goddamn saints that, they have their public relations campaigns, and of course they're largely have an oversized share of ownership of the media. They founded whatever certain studios.
Not Father Lefebvre. Father Leonard Feeney.
Yeah, I mean the media. Okay, like this is that's an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory that the Jews control the media. Okay, so what do you consider the media?
Get in touch. What? And fuck you. Nope. Don't want to play. And guess what? They still haven't retired in Missouri. Now you look up how many points you got.
You did that movie, and it's exactly how it was. You're a civilian or a citizen to be served, right?
No, you're crossing the beams, Ghostbuster. No, don't.
Jews that came to the United States. I am going to categorize Jews. It's going to be the ones that came in the very early part of the 20th century, especially 20s, 30s, and these were fucking radicals. There's a reason why you had the 1924 Nation of Quotas national quota implemented. It's just, they didn't want these fucking Eastern European people, many of which were Jewish, that were a bunch of fucking commies and antagonists. And what did we get? Look in the 1960s. What happened? Why did we have all of this communist bullshit in the United States?
There's something very, I personally don't like to get into this that often as much as Goo does.
Not news, but
Recording. Yeah. Voted for Trump. No, right? Recording. Wait, what about you said at the same time? 5% of the people.
Or something, Jeremiah?
Yeah. So this is what happened. Ragu came up on stage and was like, I don't like Discord. You gotta prove to me that your Discord's got value, otherwise I won't come. And Kamara came on stage and says, nobody's gotta prove anything to you. Fuck off.
Well, that's what I do, man. I don't know why he does that. I don't know. He's just like.
Is that the Germans did? We could talk about what they did to you. We didn't do that to you. In fact, before we entered the war, or after we entered the war, we were really what liberated you people. But after the fact, we have given you more money. We have given you more weapons. We have done more for you than any other group of people in the fucking world. Literally. And
I think there's an entire list
what did they do? They
titles that I've received.
Like a
I call
toxic
them my honorary titles. I actually didn't, the list is in my head, but I'm going to formalize it and I'm going to just call it the So it starts by anti-Semite, Jew hater, both are different apparently, Jew lover, Zionist, anti-Zionist, also all the Islamic ones, so Salafist, Madkhali, Ash'ari, Shia, Sunni, Sunni is accurate, but
we didn't do it to you. Exactly. And we have given your fucking country more support militarily and monetarily than any other fucking country. So for you to try to fucking guilt us, when we have done this, and we have literally the benefit for us, like honestly, if we were to have, this is my honest opinion, if I'm just being a very cynical person, if we were to just like let's just say in the 1950s, just wipe them off the map, it would be a lot smoother sailing in the Middle East.
His brothers had
literally. This has come at a fucking price for us.
Last year, the Arab Gulf invested approximately over $1 trillion in the U.S. economy. Show me the Israeli investments in the U.S. economy.
No, it's bullshit, and
you know what? Some smart schmuck is gonna come up and say, we give money to Egypt, we give money to Jordan.
Yeah, but we only do it to appease Israel.
Exactly, and those are the only two Arab countries that get money from the United States, and they only get the money from the United States as a condition to the peace treaties they signed with so-called Israel. So however you look at this relationship is not beneficial. Your beneficial relationship in that region.
No, I don't think it's beneficial whatsoever, and part of the problem with me too is the evangelical cucks that they're not Jew lovers like they say they are, but they use flattering language. Just like the Jews do the same thing. They're hospitable to them. Why? Because they don't believe in each other's bullshit, but they both see mutual benefit. The Jews are getting what they want, but those kites are going to just die in a fiery pit of hell once Jesus returns. And then, the Jews are thinking like, you fucking stupid goy are going to be our fucking slaves, and you guys are trash. You dumb goy, just go ahead and give us that money.
I ain't gonna lie. He actually made a really good point. I had to look it up. I think from a statistical standpoint, America has done more for Israel than any other country. Like, I ain't gonna lie. If you look at the numbers, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, we don't fool them. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and not only that, if you go back to after the fall of the League of Nations, after the League of Nations or after the World War, right? And the British were left in control with figuring out what was going to happen with that region, the Palestinian region, right? The Palestine. The British originally, they were just like, okay, the U.S., the U.S. is always like the biggest mover. And they said, okay, we'll make a home for the Jewish people. They pushed for that. It was mostly, sorry, Rashad, could you mute? Sorry, it's bothering me. Oh, thank God, thank you. So they were just like, okay, we'll make a home for the Jewish people. So it was the U.S. that was pushing that. The British, at one point, once Palestine started to become destabilized because of the Jewish immigration and what was happening in the area, under Winston Churchill, they sent people because now the League of Nations is looking. Look this up. I'm talking between 1919 and 1922. The Palestinian people, they were promised told in different ways, that they would be able to make claim for their own state. And they formed the Arab Congress, and they were trying to, they were like, hey, what about us? I want to have my own state. But anyway, getting back to the other thing I was saying, at one point, the British were being held, the fire was being held because they're like, what is going on with all of this shit that's happening in Gaza, all this fighting, between the Jews and whatever. So the British sent in people to go and do research to figure out what was happening. And their little guy came back and said, what's happening is the Jews are coming in, they're buying up land, because it's, and I can't really explain it, there's a name for it, but before, under the Ottoman Empire, the way that the land was owned, right, it was like rented out, and I'm not using the technical terms, but these are people that have had, you know, these farms and worked these farms for generations and generations and generations, okay? So they would come in, they'd buy up.
Yeah, just like watching a tennis match for me, because, you know, this is the...
And then they would pass laws.
This is the difficulty for me, is that I'm a cop, right? So I've been offered money from a lot of different people, but everyone says, you're the sheriff, you can't take money from that person. You're the sheriff, you can't take money from that person. You're the sheriff. So I have to turn down a lot of donations. So we have been, we have resigned, that's great time. We have the best great time. How many times are you going to be the moderator now? You could have resigned. I'll be the moderator, please.
Fucking put pressure on the British to start it up again. The fucking United States.
Thank you.
To the United States and said blah 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 blah, and they talk about this, and the Brits were from the U.S. mostly, and they said, okay, well our hands are tied. There's too much that was going on, and they talk about this. They talk about But anyway, it was the, I don't think any of this would happen. The state of Israel would have been trying if it wasn't for so, and I'm surprised you guys didn't mention all of the other things, like where Norma was in the room, about everything else, all the stronghold that we have in our politics. We have anti-BDS laws. We have, in almost 30 plus states, right? That means that you literally can't boycott that. So the Palestinian people, in like 2005, they created the boycott BDS, boycott, divestment, and sanction, I think it is, BDS movement, okay? So, to support, you know, what was going on and to bring attention. The United States has, in over 30 states, anti-BDS laws, meaning if you campaign or you speak out or protest against Israel, that you'll lose your government contracts. And government contracts means anything, if you're a teacher, if anything. And people say, oh, no, that's constitutional. Exactly. And there have been states where this, in Texas, I know for a fact, there's a couple others that they had an override. It's like, yeah, no, that isn't constitutional. It's not, because you can't have, you know, this. It's a freedom of speech. You can't do that. Okay, so not only do we have the majority of our union captured by BDS laws, they even try to pass these laws federally. They try to do this federally. Thank God it didn't work federally. But there were laws recently, I want to say within the past 10 years, where they try to pass these on the federal level, saying if you boycott against Israel, then it's criminal. It's a criminal offense. You could get up to $1 million in fines and prison terms, blah, 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 blah. But because of a bunch of, you know, people that pressured the ACLU and everything, it didn't get passed, okay? But hold on. It's not what other nation do we have? Do you guys remember what happened last year? 50 states and one Israel? Israel had legislators from each of our states. They paid for this is fucked up. In one, and I'm just so surprised by this. Had multiple legislators from every state in one weekend fly out to Israel, and Netanyahu paid for the whole trip, paid for the full weekend. What was that for? What was that for? To talk about politics, talk about. I mean, you figure it out yourself. But all of this isn't. And think about AIPAC. I'm surprised you guys didn't talk about AIPAC. Why AIPAC? that wasn't the original form. AIPAC, the reason why people formed AIPAC was because it was originally supposed to fall under the laws that say you have to register for, what's the name of that? Does anybody remember? You have to register for some federal thing, but they couldn't, so they had to reformulate it, and that's how they formed AIPAC, to get around it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, fair.
Right, exactly. And so, but it still does the same exact thing.
Yo, I looked this up. This shit is kind of crazy. I ain't gonna lie. Yo, it's very quick. Hold on. Yes, by a very large margin, the United States has done more for Israel than any other country in modern history, especially since Israel's founding in 1948. No other nation comes close in terms of military aid, financial assistance, diplomatic protection, and strategic cooperation. The U.S. is Israel's largest supporter ever recorded between two countries outside a formal colony relationship. The U.S. has provided $160+ billion in aid. And to sum it up, no other country provides aid remotely close to this level. Advanced aircraft, F-35 fighters, missile defense system, Iron Dome, David Sling and Arrow, precision weapons, and defense technology. Bro, so the U.S. has used its veto power at the United Nations Security Council dozens of times to block resolutions critical of Israel. Bro, I ain't gonna lie, Pepe, I disagree with him, but he's right, bro. For them to come to your country and try to be like, you ain't did this, bitch, we made you. It's crazy, I ain't gonna lie, that's kind of wild. If you look that up on ChatGPT, it's kind of hard.
You know what I want to say about the whole thing about.
I'm just saying, if the level of aid that we've given to Israel, if they provided that to Africa, if we did that to African countries, all of us niggas would go home. All of us, we would go back to Africa.
No, you've said more to Africa than 100 times that combined. But in terms of Israel, Bima talks about the British and how they set up the vote. Bima, do you know how the British voted in 1948 for Israel's independence? What did they vote? Did they say yes, no, or abstain?
I'm not talking about 1948. I'm talking about 30 years.
No, but
I'm talking about 30 years before that. I'm talking about 30 years before that.
Yeah. I know you're talking points. In 1948, the British actually abstained from the vote. They did not even vote yes on Israel. Wait.
I wonder why.
Stop.
Quick question. Are you tired of Illinois being run by the same insiders who keep failing us?
Just shut up and keep going.
You just don't know.
Go.
I do want to hear what are you saying?
Just make sure. If you attack me, I'm going to come off. And if you want to have a conversation in there. If the first time you demean me or insult me, I'm going to come off mic. Alright? So just have a conversation.
You know what I'm talking. You know what I'm trying to prove? You don't know anything. The thing is, when it happened in 1948, President Truman, when he recognized the state of Israel, the first one only 12 minutes, the second thing he did was put an arms embargo on the state of Israel, a full embargo on the state of Israel. He was like, you know what? I'm going to recognize you 5 out of the 7 five-star generals in the United States Armed Forces. Only 2. Ike was one of the ones, and the other one, MacArthur, was the other one. That was after Truman declared them independence and his independence. And the second thing is, until 1967, when the state of Israel actually defeated 6 Arab armies in 6 days, embarrassing, I know. It hurts jihadists' brain and everything else like that. And the thing is, when you talk about purchasing the media and everything else like that, all the footage you see from World War II and all consecutive wars and stuff, Hollywood was one of the few places they could go and found it. They used to say no Jews, no blacks, no dogs. I don't see a single person being hated for success in the entire world. If somebody tells you to fuck off and you go succeed somewhere else, I don't get that. Nobody is purchasing the media. If you have these other groups, I'm so sick of
Larry Ellison
and I'm
wants No, hold on.
you're cutting me off, bro. You did not cut You know what?
Larry Ellison today, if you look on X.com, it's the #1 story. He's purchasing Paramount. You mentioned Harry Truman. Harry Truman. Okay, he was just so disgusted by the Jews and their behavior when they had to try to allocate. Yes, he did. But he was so disgusted by their behavior that he had a lot of horrible shit to say about him. Just like what you said, like he did not. Yeah. So he did the arts and hold on. But like you said, he was the one that did the arms embargo, and so he was not a fan of them. So it doesn't fucking matter. And goddamn, dude, whatever else you're saying, it's like largely bullshit.
It's 100% true, and that's what all the anti-Semites say. They're like, "Oh well, America's given the most weapons to the state of Israel." When Israel was building, actually in the early 1970s and the 1980s, when they were building their jet fighters and stuff, you know what President Reagan said? He said, "Don't build your jet fighters. We'll give you jet fighters." That's why the Merkava and other ones were built aside, because they knew eventually they'll need their weapons, like they did after October 7th. You know, it was a harsh reality. That's why recently Bibi Netanyahu said, under 10 years, we're going to make sure we have 0 American weapons, 0 American money, because this is the political rhetoric that you're talking about now. You're talking about, oh, well,
amazing.
I'm sure they're going to do a great thing. No, it's a great thing. And when you talk about, no, stop cutting me off. Like, you let it talk for forever. And
okay, I'm gonna go to bed. I'll listen for a little bit, you guys. You guys just like moderate.
So someone else that have a different opinion.
All I'm gonna say is like, I hear what you're saying, but it's not really
just because of a different point of view. You know, when he was talking for like 30 fucking minutes, he never said fuck all because it agreed with his opinion. He never said fuck all. He never cut it off. He never said shit. And I'm trying to tell you the reason why Israel has F-35s. Doesn't have X-22s, nobody does, is because the United States under President Reagan told the state of Israel, do not build these fucking weapons because we'll have your back. And $3 billion a year, which 100% goes back to U.S. manufacturing, the F-35 is a joint Israeli-American weapon. It's the same thing as the nuclear weapon, Oppenheimer. That's a fucking Jewish name. Wait. Oppenheimer is a Jewish name. The Jews have always contributed to the United States. They're less than 0.002% of the population. You focus that on that shit, you know what I mean? You have 400 million Muslims that haven't defeated them, that have not defeated them in the Middle East since 1948. You're going to come here and sit here and tell me that this is really your biggest problem, you know? And you're going to be like, oh, Goyim lives matter, like it's such a big deal, you know? What about Abid's lives matters? You don't focus on what the Arabs call us, Abids, slaves, trash, dogs, and everything else like that, because you know better. So now you're saying, we're perfect, go to sleep, bitch ass.
Okay, A-Check, I hear you. But you're not really disproving the point, though, is that America has provided more aid to Israel, and you could argue that the only reason Israel is a power in the Middle East is because of America. That is without question. Now I think
I can answer that question.
I know. Wait. Let me finish. Because I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm just trying to recognize something that Pepe said is a very clear observation. And I think if Netanyahu was like, yo, we're going to get rid of American weapons and stuff, I would like to see how it looks like that. I think that the odds of going to war with Iran would be closer, because I don't think Iran really wants to go to conflict with Israel head on, because you're backed by the biggest world superpower in the world, America. Once you remove America, the difference between Israel and Iran gets a lot closer. You know what I'm saying? So what my point is that I'm not saying you're wrong, but these points don't necessarily disprove the observation. If Israel was established in 1948, I'm saying, if America never comes to the aid of Israel from 1948 up until we're here right at this point right now, I don't think Israel stands as a force in the Middle East as they do. Because right now, me and you can both agree that Israel is definitely the number one force in Israel in the Middle East right now. Would you agree?
100% number one force in the Middle East. From 1948 war, before the Gaza war, was Israel's longest war. America was not involved in that. 1956, the United States was not involved in that. Frankly, they ended it. The reason why Jabal Abdel Nasser ended up with the Suez Canal, because in 1956, the state of Israel, Britain, and France all attacked the Suez Canal to take back the Suez Canal. And you know who stopped it? President Eisenhower. He told Britain that he was going to embargo them the shit out of them. And then in 1967, Israel's biggest victory, they took the Sinai, they took what you call the West Bank, and I call Judea and Samaria. They took the Golan Heights, they took parts of Lebanon, they took absolutely everything. It was a decisive victory. You know who forced them to give it the fuck back? It's actually been a poisonous chalice. Take back all your aid and keep it America first. Don't give it to anybody. I don't care. But to sit here and say that the state of Israel is just there because of, American right and everything else like that, the U.S. is the best, 100%. But in the Middle East, they can handle themselves. And the reason why, if you look at Gaza, remember, do you remember when every single son of a bitch was saying, don't go to Rafah? And they were saying all eyes on Rafah? Netanyahu told Biden, if my soldiers, the Haganah, the IDF, the defense, have to fight with their fingernails, they're going to fight with their fingernails. And that's exactly what happens.
Wait. And you can die like that. No one's testing. No one's saying that Israelites, no one's saying that you're not tough. Without question, right? There's many countries that have fought till they're damn near genocide, without question. But I don't think that happens because the clear observation at this point is that Israel is surrounded by enemies on both sides. They're surrounded by enemies on both sides.
Being surrounded by enemies.
Right. So wait. So if all of these countries ganged up on Israel, they wouldn't be there. The only reason is because of America.
Actually, no, Rashad, that is fake news. In 1948, Egypt, Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, and I'm missing one more. All attacked the state of Israel. They failed. 6 countries failed. In 1956, 6 countries, Arab countries, all failed, including Morocco and Tunisia, failed. In 1967, again. In 1972, they took a bit of land and they failed again. Henry Kissinger had to go again. These Arab inbred countries have never defeated the Israelis. I don't understand what you're talking about. It's just a Jew hatred to be like, oh, the Jews are doing this, the Jews are doing that. This is 2,000 years of anti-Semitism. It's just a disgusting phrase to use. And I'm so glad finally, after 2,000 years, the Jews can shoot back. And retarded liars, like people in this room, and be like, oh, the state of Israel is only there because of the United States. It is fake news. If the United States stopped all support of the state of Israel, they'll be there. And by the way, the state of Israel obviously has nuclear weapons. Do you really think Iran is going to defeat the state of Israel? They're not. October 7th was about. Do you really think from the fathers like Einstein, Oppenheimer, the people that came up with nuclear physicists really don't have a nuclear weapon? And you really think these inbred Arab countries have nuclear weapons? I am sick and tired of people using Israel as a sledge. They never talk about the criminality in Pakistan, Afghanistan, Syria, Yemen, Tunisia, Sudan, all these terrible Arab inbred countries ever. They focus on a population of less than 10 million Jews in the state of Israel. Why do they do that? Because they're sick fucking people. If you really care about everybody else, focus on Sudan, focus on Syria. Syria had 500,000 people die. You want to know why they don't care? Because it's Muslims dying. No Jews, no news.
Wait, America's been involved in the conflict in Israel. I mean, in Syria. They have.
100%.
That's nothing but deflection. The argument that
Wait. You just named countries like America isn't involved in the conflicts over there. America's heavily involved.
America, I'm talking about these so-called people that pretend to give a shit about human lives. when 500,000 people were dead in Syria, nobody protested in London, New York, Sydney, or whatever the fuck. As soon as October 7 happened, you know what they did? They went to Sydney and they said gas the Jews. These people are sick people. And
Wait, that's because...
This is why I'm so thankful that Israel can finally fight back.
Wait, I know. So you're right. But so you're right. But the only reason there's been a bit of anti-Israel energy in the U.S. is because
it's just
the U.S. Hear me out real quick. U.S. citizens do not like funding countries. That the American people do not like the U.S. government funding countries that they feel where they feel there's no clear indication that they're right or wrong. I get that you feel this way, but I'm saying you need to see this from the American people's side. In the Middle East, as far as we're concerned, Israel is not in the right. If anything, they're a little bit in the wrong just as any other. Now, we're not saying Hamas was right for what they did. Without question, they're wrong. And you know what I'm saying? And they're a terrorist organization. But there is not a clear line in the sand. Innocent people on the Gaza Strip are being killed by Israel. That is without question true. And you can't say, because I'm pro-Israel, that's not true. There's some truth to that. Now, because we could argue till we're blue in the face, and remember what I said. H.A. The issue is that there is no clear right or wrong. Now, American people have always been this way. It was the same in Vietnam. I don't know if you're well versed on American history, but in Vietnam, there was no clear indication of who was right or wrong. And we saw the American people grow resentment toward sending soldiers to their death to fight a war where there was no clear indication of who was right or wrong. That same line of thinking is where it is with Israel. So that is why it's becoming. But the thing is, Israel doesn't have a right to defend itself, but we're saying you should stop funding them and just let them figure that shit out on their own.
Exactly. I agree with you. Stop all funding to the state of Israel. Stop absolutely all funding and stop all political anti-pressure and everything else like that. And you'll see them win. Because one of the biggest things I hate the most, you have these retarded liberals that think just because they support Palestine makes them a good person. Palestine never existed. They never had a fucking president. They never had a fucking king. They never had a fucking monarch. It was always controlled by somebody else. Before that land, it was the Ottomans. Before that, it was other groups of people that controlled it. No state of Palestine has ever fucking existed. And I hope the state of Israel actually takes Judea and Samaria, aka the West Banks, and ends this godforsaken argument once and for all. Because you have Jordan. Jordan took 75% of Palestine, as you call it, because when that mandate happened, there was 3 countries that were created out of it. It was Israel, it was Jordan, Syria, Sykes-Picot Agreement, everything else like that. As you know, the Kurds never got their state, unfortunately. I am so sick and tired of people focusing on Israel. Israel is less than 16 miles wide. If you give Judea and Samaria, the West Bank, to the so-called Palestinians, you can't defend it. You want to know how far Hamas got into Israel in October 7? They got into it like 28 miles. That's from Jerusalem to fucking Tel Aviv. You can't defend that fucking land at all whatsoever. If these Arabs, there's like 50 Muslim countries, and there's like 22 Arab countries. They need to fuck off and leave the Jews alone. The Jews have been persecuted for 2,000 fucking years, and they finally have a state. And I'm so sick and tired of people being like, the Jews control the world. If you're so pathetic and lame in this whole fucking world that you think less than 8 million Jews in the United States of America, in a country that is 340 million, is controlling your life, you're a loser motherfucking bitch. I'm sorry. There's less than 8 million. You really think less than 8 million Jews are controlling your entire life, bro? Go check your work ethic or something else like that. They couldn't even stop October 7 because the Mossad has to focus on our external enemies. and the Shin Bet was looking after internal enemies. That's how the bullshit fucking happened. I'm so sick and tired of these people. If you want to free Palestine, go ahead and put on a fucking army uniform. I was 18.
Already have one on.
And you know what I did? You know what I did, Rashawn, instead of talking to fucking this? I went and started the SPLA armed forces. And we got fucking independence. I'm sick and tired of anti-Semites and Jew haters. Because some come sharmutas.
I'm talking about country right now.
So what I was going to say was, that was a beautiful example of just deflection and talking and moving goalposts and trash. We were talking about the influence of countries in U.S. politics. We were talking about U.S. first, and there is no other country that is literally written in our two political parties. Okay, it's part of a party platform, right? There's no other country that the people in the United States list as a necessary stipulation for being this particular political party. If you know, you know. Okay. Not only that, we have, like I said, the laws. There's no other laws in our nation where in the majority of our union that say, oh, you can't protest another country. Like you're not going to find one. You're not going to find any other country in the world of people, U.S. citizens, specifically our legislators, going largely from every state to another country as the country leader invites them over. It's not. We're talking about that influence. The reason that specifically Gaza and Palestine became so passionate for so many people is because the U.S. funded it, and this was listed. This was stated on the congressional floor. I think it wasn't. Who was it? It was one of the Democrats. One of the Democrats. I forget his name, but it was upward of 85% since October 3rd had been funded. Of the actions inside of Gaza have been funded by the United States people. So, of course, by proximity, there's going to be a concern there. And to say also that, you never care about, and that's it, you never cared before, well, that's not true. People, if it's been, the Gaza and Palestine issue have been on so many people's radar for so many years. This has been ongoing. And it's not only Gaza and Palestine. Right? I was indoctrinated years ago when I want to say it was in 2007, and then 2000 probably 9, around 2000. It was the 2008-09, right? War, the Gaza, the whole reigniting. Right, another reigniting of the life. This has been ongoing, but we've also given our attention to Kenya. We had given when Kenya was going through what Kenya was going through, and Darfur, Sudan, when it was going through that, or Syria or Libya. We always have whatever it is, whatever is happening, and the proximal, like it's attention. We obviously have only so much attention that we could possibly give to every little situation, and but of course, but it doesn't mean that there's no less validity of the action if we're being critical about what's going on. It doesn't mean that it's not true just because there's more attention, brought to it, right? We also worried about the stuff that was happening in Nigeria in 2014. Or I remember when I was a kid being against that Coney guy, and there was these huge, and I remember I got like this whole support box, right? I paid money to get the support box to, combat the mean Coney guy who was going around, in fucking Uganda abducting children and making him, join the LRA and become soldiers, right? It's always something. It's always something, and that's not true. But again, our focus is what other country has the attention that it does, and you're not going to find another country than Israel. And the other thing, and the last thing I'll say, is I'm talking, like I said, way before 1948. 1948 is interesting. Oh my God, that stupid dog. That's not my doing. I think I don't know why she's barking. She's probably seeing ghosts. It's like 12 o'clock here. But
she smells your Jubilee trip.
I don't know why she's barking. I gotta go find out why she's barking. Hopefully it's not having an issue. But way before 1948, and it was seconds. The U.S. was the first country to what is it called? Officialize the to establish Israel as a nation, but recognize. Thank you. Within seconds, okay. And if that didn't happen, they argue that that would have looked completely different because of what happened the day after. But also, like I said, I'm talking about way before that. I'm talking about 1919, 1920, all of it leading up, all of that. I mean, like, there's significant things. One was called the Biltmore. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look it up. But there were agreements. I have to go shut this fucking.
I'll help you out. It's called the 1917 Balfour Declaration.
You know,
not the Balfour Declaration. It's called like the Whitmore or something. Not Balfour. I know the Balfour Declaration.
Beeman, this guy keeps saying you want to eradicate Jews in the chat.
Look, man, I don't.
Why does he keep saying this? You've never said anything like that, right?
Yeah, I don't know if we can have an honest conversation. Like I get, being prideful for your country. Like, no one's saying that you should feel like Israel shouldn't defend themselves. I just feel like you can point to many points in history where the American government funded something and the American people was like, yo, there's not a clear line in the sand of who's right or who's wrong. Like, we got to let this go. The issue with Israel is that Israel has been funded in terms of events more than any other country. And we've seen Israel do things that didn't align with American views, right? They sunk. I think they shot a Navy vessel before. That's been documented in American history. They've done many shady things. It's a lot to cover. I was just hoping that HX maybe could see the middle ground, but it's not like it. I don't know how to explain it, man. But
well, my point is, I see it's just funding for any other thing that people bitch about. We don't want our funding to go to entitlements in the U.S. where people are abusing welfare, or Somalis that are frauding the system, or Israel. It doesn't mean you hate.
Right, but
it doesn't mean you hate Somalis. It doesn't mean you hate trans people. It doesn't mean any of that. It's just what you should. It's like having a budget at home. What you spend your money on, should have a say in that with our tax dollars, and we can complain and say, no, this is not best use of our money. It doesn't make us Jew haters.
Right, but I'm saying, like, also none of those countries though are really associated with something as significant as like 9/11 or. There's information if someone looks up that shows that they low-key are connected to that. It just seems like they're kind of like a puppet state that kind of pulls strings. So I can see how someone looking at Israel would be like, yo, we funded them too long. We funded them too long. You can't apply. That's not the same as saying immigrants come into a country and trying to manipulate the system. This is more like we literally created an entire country and we're giving them the power to commit atrocities.
Russia, you did not create an entire country. 5 out of 7 star generals in the United States Armed Forces said no to President Truman. And President Truman actually outruled them. And before you go, Israel gets so much, just cut the funding off. You know what I mean? Netanyahu has done it himself. Netanyahu really said to President Trump recently, look, I want no more your funding in less than 10 years. You know what Trump said to him? He's like, yeah, that's not happening. Because we work on so many weapons and everything else. The United States literally told the state of Israel, like, yeah, we have to keep working together. And the problem is with all these retarded anti-Semites is, I can list so many things. It's like, you really think the world loved Jews before 1948? I can go on the fucking Holocaust, Russian pogroms, the Farwood massacre, the Grenada massacre, especially with Europe, Spanish Inquisition, Crusader massacre, Roman Jewish wars, Assyrian and Babylonian. I can go back a long, long damn time. And these people that think they're like justice warriors talking about what? Darfur and everything. You want to know what's going on in Darfur right now? The people in Darfur are gonna kill nobody. You can literally see it from fucking the satellites, the blood in Darfur. Nobody's fucking protesting for Darfur. You want to know why? You want to know why they're not protesting Rashad in Darfur? Because it's Muslims killing Muslims. If Jews kill 500,000 so-called Palestinians, nobody would ever hear the end of the fucking thing. But when other Muslims do it, they do it in Lebanon, they do it in Syria, they do it in Yemen, nobody cares. That's why I'm sick and tired of these people. That's why when I talk Yemen about all these other places, and then it's like, oh, the second I start talking, it's like, oh, I'm gonna go to sleep. What a bitch ass. And the war in Iran, you know what they say first? They say death to America, and they say death to Israel. If it wasn't such a bitch ass, he'd wake up and find his unfounded thing. People like this in the woke right and everything that's going on are the most sinister and the worst sort of people. If you really believe what you really believe, talk about it. I am so sick and tired of bitch ass people attacking the state of Israel. And I'm so thankful that finally, after like 2,000 years, there's an idea that having we can shoot back at the enemies, eviscerate the enemies, delete the enemies, and go on and choose. Like when you go to Tel Aviv, Rashad, it's so beautiful. It's so nice. It was such a swamp. You know, Mark Twain wrote about Tel Aviv. He said it's such a swamp, it's disgusting, there's like birds and bees everywhere. You go to Tel Aviv today and you land in Bengur, it's so beautiful. It's so nice. You can go to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Everything is pristine, looked after for all religions. I am so thankful the state of Israel is there. It is the only democracy in the entire Middle East. There's not a single inbred Arab country in the Middle East.
What I'll tell you is that we'll find out.
Arab country in the Middle East that is a fucking democracy. It doesn't exist. You go to the UAE, prostitutes everywhere, Russian hoes, Mongolian hoes, absolutely terrible. If you go to Saudi Arabia, horrible. One of the worst prosecutions. You go to Israel, you have freedom. You know, these people just lie. Israel is the only free country in the Middle East. All the rest is all bullshit. And I'm sick and tired of these leftists, so people on the right being like, oh, Israel is terrible. Sweats, Rashad, just go there and see it for yourself.
I hear you, man. I hear you.
Yeah. Nobody's bashing Israel in here.
I don't think we're bashing Israel. I think we're just looking at it objectively. I think, and that is what I was trying to convey. Like, I'm not bashing Israel. I'm not saying Israel doesn't have a right to defend itself. I'm just saying that there's a lot of documentation of Israel committing atrocities, and that is why, the American people feeling indifference toward Israel. We've aided them more than any other country statistically. Financially, you can look at that on paper. So the idea that you're saying is that maybe Israel would have been as successful as they were without America. I just don't know about that. I don't know. The data, I don't know. I can't 100% say with certainty that would be it. You know what I'm saying? There's been many issues. They've had many events that you could argue the only reason they came out on top was because of American aid, right?
No.
Wait. Like if I see you, I don't. Hold on. Wait. Like outside of jets, if I tell you I send you $22 billion in aid, right? I can tell you any African country, like let's say the dude named Tory, right, who's certainly a dictator who's trying to unify America. I can tell you if the U.S. sent them if the U.S. sent Tory $22 billion in military aid, Africa would be united already. No, I don't think anyone here can say that it would be the other. So I'm just saying, if we have objectively, I know, but I'm saying the money matters. The money matters.
No, but the thing is, it's not money sent to it. They have to spend it on U.S. weapons, such as Boeing,
Do you think
Lockheed and stuff. America doesn't send. America does not send $3 billion to Israeli treasuries every single year. They sell it to American weapons manufacturing that the Israelis have to work with and purchase American weapons. And that's why they have leverage over the Israeli government. Do you remember Rafah? The only reason President Biden wanted to stop because he was like, you know what? If you're going to Rafah, I'm going to stop the weapons. And then Netanyahu said, look, if you're going to stop us going to Rafah, the IDF is going to fight with even
So are you saying?
It's not cash.
Are you saying that the Iron Dome would have always become a thing without American funding?
Well, they don't really need it from Gaza anymore anyways. There's no more rockets coming from Gaza. That threat has been eliminated.
Just wait. And the F-22 and the F-35. It's a joint American-Israeli weapons manufacturing.
It's a big program, Rashad. It's a lot of jobs. It's a jobs program. It's a big jobs program.
There's a law passed by the United States Congress. And it says Israel has to have a strategic advantage in the Middle East, which means the F-35 planes that you send to Saudi Arabia have to be worse than the ones you send to the state of Israel. You want to know why? Because it was a joint Israeli-American tactical machine that works on it. And the law was passed by that. That's the only reason. Israel is not just an ally that sucks up like billions of dollars like Jordan or Egypt and every single one of those cousin lover countries. Israel actually makes it. F-35.
There you go, Matthew.
Oh yeah, baby. Sorry, what did you say? I was just. What did you say, Cora?
And you also get karma from getting positive reactions from people.
No way.
And then I sent you some hearts to help.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, I tend to get a lot of negative reaction.
Yeah, but it's because you're delusional. You think that Jesus Christ would have been a comedianist? You're a pedophile, rapist, mass murderer, Matthew. You're a potential terrorist. You're a potential terrorist, Matthew! Matthew, you could become a terrorist! They're going down the route you're going. Be careful, Matthew! The FBI could be listening! They might kick in your door, Matthew! Who would vote for Matthew? Matthew would touch your children. Matthew would touch your boyfriend. Matthew's inappropriate. Matthew's is spreading misinformation and lies. It's ridiculous. I'm a write-in candidate for the 16th district. I'm still literally I could possibly win. It only takes a couple thousand write-ins. That's it. 5,000 and we got it. But Matthew will keep creating these stupid low IQ rooms instead of reading a fucking book. He comes in here in politics. It's ridiculous. He thinks there's going to be a same-sex marriage in Sharia. They do trans surgeries in Iran because they don't want you being gay. So they say, cut your dick off if you want to suck a dick. That's what they tell their people. That's how fucking stupid they are. They say if you want to suck a dick in Iran, you can suck a dick, but you gotta let our doctors cut your dick off first. That's the logic of these stupid fucking Iranians. They're that fucking warped. They're that fucking stupid. Cut your dick off to suck a dick. That's their solution to homosexuality.
Thank you. That's our correspondent from Israel. Thank you for that. What's the weather now with Nergis?
I thought Buster was talking. I sent him to the audience. Matthew, that was
I was like, what was I doing? What did I do?
I was so confused. I was like, what?
That's right. I was the one saying he's crazy. Yeah, sorry.
You guys know Adrian Dittmer, right? That's who that is.
No, his real name is John Kitover.
Right, yeah, John Kitover, correct. Yeah, it's funny. Wow, that guy was fucking stupid.
He'd be a good. I actually saw one of those. Yeah, like it kind of sound. That's what I wasn't sure because he sounded like one of those evangelical speakers. You know, there's one who he almost sounded exactly like him actually. Really, really high pitched voice.
Yeah, he's actually quite intelligent. He just applies it to all the wrong things.
Is he intelligent?
Yeah, he is. He's intelligent, but he's so crazy that he
Usually first impressions and last impressions. You had to do a lot to change that first impression for me.
It was like Clubhouse, pretty much. What's wrong with him?
Grandiose narcissist.
Where do we begin?
Yeah.
No, but I mean, so what areas of how's he demonstrated his intelligence?
He's recording this room right now in 12 different
he's pretty
seconds.
well read. If you could get him to not do the shrill thing and just sit down and talk, you can actually have a decent conversation with him. The problem is getting him to that point in the first place just takes a lot of effort. So.
I'm just going to his profile right now. It looks like a complete creep.
What does he talk about? Says.
Well, that's his curated persona.
But what is he like talking about usually?
He's pretty good on the esoteric stuff. He's pretty well versed in philosophy. I haven't got him down. I don't know what his actual areas of expertise are. I know he's served in the military for a while. And he's obviously very technologically savvy because he does all sorts of crazy shit like running multiple phones and recording things and streaming things and all sorts of other stuff. But yeah. Just in general, there's something there. It's just, why doesn't he apply it to something like useful and interesting?
Sounds like me at school. It's pretty much all my report cards. Movies. Let's see. I've seen.
So he's got a live going on YouTube.
Yeah.
And he's recording this and he's reacting to it, and he has a fruity green, and he's waving, he has a fruity green hat on. Damn, how old are you, dude?
I think he's in his 40s. Are you talking about John Kitover?
Yeah, I think he's.
Am I the only one who likes him so much?
You're just saying that, you doing that.
I love John Kitover.
He says everyone gets them to chop the dick before you can suck a dick.
He's kind of acting like this.
Is he homosexual? Does he suck dick?
Stand-up comedy, not doing this weird stuff.
Did he have his cock cut off in Tehran or Isfahan so I can suck a dick? I got my dick cut off in Tehran so I can suck a dick legally.
Did he play the bell?
Under Sharia.
Oh, he was saying that last night. I was like, I had to find it weird. I just couldn't with that shit. Yeah, I think it's real funny, John. But it literally causes me physical pain.
They're giving me a migraine!
Communication is hypnosis.
Oh, communication is hypnosis. It's true.
That's so 2023 though, Buster.
He still does it every now and again.
What are his views on Israel? Does he condemn Israel?
Oh, definitely not.
Oh no, he loves the Zionists. He loves a strong Zionist, a powerful Zionist, unlimited power Zionist, Mega Robotron Zionist, full AI Zionist.
Any sort of ideology.
So I have been hypnotized many times by John Kitover. The most profound experience.
The only thing I've ever said about Iran is that it would be really nice if I could take a Caspian Sea cruise.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Who missed me the most?
Yeah, Musa, yeah, are you there?
This guy in the audience, his name is Philosophy. He definitely missed you the most. He was asking about you.
I support full AI Zionism. Okay. Oh, that's cool for him. He must be from Tel Aviv.
A lot of fully automated Zionism.
Arjun, what's on?
What's up, Cairo, bro?
Good, I'm good.
What's going on? How's your afternoon?
Alhamdulillah, everyone's good. Just trying to,
I don't see you. Did you go back to Jason's room, God's lawyer?
Jason, no, they don't want to see me around.
You know, the brethren or
Bro, he's such a big
They don't like it when they see a book and they see prophecies talking about Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
Well, he doesn't. He bashes Jesus, bro. Like it's absurd. He bashes Jesus up. Like,
yeah, obviously they're Jewish.
But
then again, this is what I tell Christians. The arguments they make, trying to find Jesus in the Old Testament, the prophecies of Jesus, it's not there. And you can't prove Jesus from the Old Testament. You can't.
Isaiah 53, 54, I think.
It's not about Jesus. It's not even close.
They say it's about the nation, right?
It's about the context, and you know what's crazy is that's their struggle. Like they try to, but it's not.
It's not there. Yeah, that's what Caleb was telling you. Yeah.
It is there. Prophecies about Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. That's definitely there. And they can't.
Yeah, are you there? Yeah.
That pisses them off. You know why? They have no answer to it. They can't argue because it's clear. Even their rabbis confirm these things. How are you gonna argue? Yeah, to all the Jewish and Christian people that are in this room. Except just saying before it's too late, guys. Come on now. Don't you guys want to go to heaven? What's wrong with y'all? I never heard people beef in heaven.
That's how you sell your JavaScript, is that, Cairo?
That is no script.
That's your script. What's your incentive? Heaven and hell.
Yeah, I don't get it, bro. Somehow people are beef in heaven. They have beef with heaven. That's crazy.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, you.
So why can't freaking Muhammad hear me?
Maybe he doesn't want to talk to you.
That's pretty sad.
Someone bookmark Amiyan. That's what's happening to Mufaddal.
Yeah.
Another
and Islam is the only religion that gets true evidence for, right? So. To any Christians,
you haven't heard
Jews. No, I definitely have. And all respect to Matthew, you know, I'm not beefing the guy, but he didn't make in my feelings for what he said is he made some poor arguments. That's just my position. Each their own.
Where's Hamza today?
No disrespect.
So I wasn't able to listen. I was boiling a kettle.
Sounds like a you problem.
Kind of is.
But yeah, that's one thing that pisses Jews and Christians off, though. They get so mad. Well, I remember one Christian guy, what was his name? What's his name on here? You're in rooms with him a lot, right? What was his name?
Oh, what? Megatron.
Yeah, Megatron, yeah. Bro, the guy had no argument. Like, and then his only thing he could say was, if you don't stop, I'm going to make fun of Prophet Muhammad. Like, that's when you know you're getting I'm going to insult you.
That's Bartha's best.
Good times. Yeah, you know, all the Christians in the room, please stop worshiping a man God. There's more to life. Right, at least they're not like atheists.
So is a man God better than no God?
Yeah. Christian is better than being an atheist.
But both are false positions, right?
Yeah,
like,
100%.
Okay, so wouldn't they both be like equivalent?
They're both wrong. They both would eventually. I mean, if the message of Islam has reached you, they both will lead you to hell.
So when you say 100%, are you saying you cannot be mistaken?
Pardon?
When you say 100%, are you saying you cannot be mistaken?
What did I say 100% about? Can you remind me?
That it's better to believe in a man God than no God at all.
Yeah, it's better to believe Christian than atheist.
So you're 100% on that?
Yeah, I believe 100% it's better to be atheist.
So you can't be mistaken?
I can't be mistaken about what? I think I'm done with you. You can't.
You can't just show them a verse. You have to poke holes in their logic.
Stop thinking. You haven't been good at it.
So, like,
I'm way above you, bro.
He's way above you, bro.
And I can be mistaken.
Hey, bro, great. I got started.
Thanks for that insightful argument. It was amazing.
Since this is a room of checks and balances, I just wanted to let you guys know I kicked that philosophy guy out.
Didn't hear that.
That's hypnosis.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Where you from, Cairo?
Canada.
Okay. Where you from?
I'll be back.
What's your background? Your ethnicity?
Half Sudanese, half Somali.
Okay, gotcha.
I'll be back. He's still in the room. He's streaming it to YouTube right now.
First generation Afghan. Born in the USA.
For Islam, bro, Bachabazis took over Afghanistan. Shout out Islam.
What?
So shout out to Islam. If it wasn't for Islam, the Bachabazis would have took over the beautiful country of Afghanistan.
Yeah. It's been. I mean, it's Islam is there right now. There's still a bunch of Bachabazis, so.
The Taliban are doing their best, right? What happened when they tried to up the Taliban? The Bachabazis were super prevalent. They were outside everywhere. That's what I heard. I've never been to Afghanistan myself.
It sounds like they've always been around.
I know they've been around. They're just saying they were more out in the open.
It's one of the few like morally upright city-states in the world, right?
What are you talking about? Afghanistan?
They have better morals than America.
Why don't you live there?
Why don't I live there? I'm not from there. Why would I move there?
Because they have a superior moral system.
So I should move there? There's a bunch of countries that have superior moral systems in America. Why don't I need to live up? Why Afghanistan?
But isn't that the most close approximation to living by the Quran?
Where'd you get that from?
Well, it's a theocracy, isn't it?
I don't know. Is it?
Do they have Sharia law there?
Because you have Sharia law, it's a theocracy. What do you have against Sharia law, though?
I didn't say I did.
Do you have anything against it?
No, I'm just wondering why you don't live.
If you're pro-Sharia.
States. The Arabs and the Jordanians. When you look at the last names, Al-Masri, Al-Jordanian, and everything else like that.
It's just weird
the
you choose to
Arabs,
live in a
they're
Western
countries
country.
like Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, where the fuck they come from. They don't belong in that region. And that's why it's so poignant that in 1964, when the PLO was created to buffer Israel under the Soviet Union, you know why Zionism is racism comes from? It comes from the Soviet Union. It doesn't even come from the Arabs. And when that law was passed in 1974 underneath the United Nations, you know who passed it? It was a former Nazi member that passed it.
Yeah, Sudan or
that was his name.
countries like
And he
that.
passed that law.
It's rough.
There was a recent
Like
ICE
I moved before.
protest or rally. Even there was no major incidents. So
Country having dairy
city has been
products.
kind of,
Hey, you learn something.
under the radar just because
Yeah, like getting
while there is
cheese, milk,
activity,
butter.
it's not disruptive by any stretch of the imagination.
Egypt too.
They started cleaning up the poop from the streets.
Which that might have been. I mean, there might have been like scattered instances of that. I think that's being taken care of.
Hey, I got a quick question. Are we going to have to build data centers for the data centers? Hello?
Oh, our favorite politician hopeful is here.
I like this guy.
Oh, that's so funny.
funny question, man. Are we going to build a data center for a data center? It's probably, it's possible, man. They'll probably put a data center in space, and then they'll put a data center here, and then we'll have a kill switch, right? Strength. And it's like, fuck. No one's getting their GPS. Can't even do your bank transaction. You can't do Zelle. None of that shit. And now you're fucking toast. It's bad. It's not really looking good, man. I don't know.
Well, Trump in his State of the Union said that Meta and Google are going to be able to start building nuclear power plants across the country. Hello?
Do you guys hear that Trump is going to release a memo that says because there was Chinese interference in the 2020 election, there are probably going to have to be like emergency voting laws or something.
Oh shit! Wait, JR, could you make me a mod, please?
Hello? JR, can you mod me up too? Thanks.
No, fuck, he's gonna...
Kick me.
That's a threat, like you don't believe what he
All
believes.
time is already, so the time has already come.
Guys, there's only one of me, please.
Yeah, Kyra, how do you have experience once you die?
How do I have experience? What do you mean?
How do you have experience once you die?
No, I said.
Oh, you said about
It means how do you continue to have experiences after you die?
Damn, blocked from that room too. Oh, we're gonna have to go in. They're gonna make me go downstairs and update.
I understood it the first time you said it. I don't know what.
Or maybe you're smarter than me.
Well, that is.
Yeah. Clear as mud.
Yeah. I mean, number one, you're Canadian, so it's
Oh my god, please, like the most worst insult ever. Please calm down.
Kyra, no one cares about your country.
Kyra, hypothetical
Bro, you're
situation.
trying to hurt my feelings, bro. Calm down.
Kyra, hypothetical situation. You're alive now. You get in a car crash. You're now dead. You have no more experiences. You're no longer conscious. So how are you going to know anything once you reach that point of no return?
Your body is that, but you still have a soul.
So okay, great. You believe that, right?
Yes.
So,
do you believe that?
No, I know. So you're claiming you have experience once you're dead. How do you do that?
Because that's what we're told.
Oh, because you're told. Do you believe everything you're told? Do you believe everything you're told?
Not everything.
Great. So what makes you believe that?
You don't believe things that you're told?
What makes you? You're the one Hussey, not me, goddammit. What makes you?
1 second.
I miss Evital because he would probably have he's got a very different perspective in many things. But he's also a liberal asshole. But wish he can come back. But it is what it is.
I don't know. He needs to cool off. Maybe he'll learn something. His time away.
Yeah. There are people. There's some people like that. They cannot let go and I'm pretty chilled. I don't take anything personally. I don't go fucking crazy even if I don't agree with Rahul. He's still friends, So he needs to learn that. I don't know. Sometimes it just goes nuclear on people. Doesn't make any sense.
Because since the divorce, he has no one else to punch down on.
He's not divorced. He's married.
Okay.
He has a handful of kids too.
I feel sorry for the wife.
Why do you feel sorry for him? What's wrong with the guy?
We have H here. What's up, H? Come on up, H. Wow.
Wow.
What's up, JR? What's up, Johnny? Rahul. Everybody else.
Hey.
Hello.
I'm not sure I understand that catchphrase, but it's definitely a
What is wanting to have some female voice here on stage to diffuse a lot of this tension?
Yeah.
I honestly can't say for long, but like, what tension? What's going on?
We were discussing whether the replacement of a human labour force justifies the minimization of those people when they become dangerous.
The Ottoman Empire fell. They now were free to be to claim, okay, well, we want to be a state. We want to continue to live here. We want to continue to operate in the same way that we've been operating, as close to a stabilization as we can be. And they tried to say, okay, look, we want to call ourselves, we want to make it official. We want to, this is what we want to do. And other nations said, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that because, you see, there are these other people in this other places the world, and they need to come here, and we're going to let them come here, and then we're going to let them call themselves something. But what about the people that were living there? You can't say that they weren't nothing. You don't have to have a state. Having a state isn't a necessary condition for people, for existing as a people. There was no corporation, therefore the workers didn't exist. What?
Hello?
There were people that were alive that lived in a society, and before they can be called a nation, what, you call a nation before the people actually inhabit it? That's backwards. That's not how all of the other nations in the world became called what they're called. The people first lived there and created life, and then their state was called what they were called. It happened afterwards. To deny that Palestinians existed, that they're not, they didn't exist, because I don't understand. If Palestinian people existed, if people that were Palestinians that lived in the place called Palestine, if they existed,
C'est la vie! C'est l'embarras شده!
Tried to organize themselves into a country. What declaration? What conference? What are you referring to?
These were all the multiple Arab Congresses, where they formed Congresses, they went and they appealed. This is in the 1919, 1920, 1921, 1922.
I would say, right, could these people in Palestine, could they defend themselves?
Hello?
Right now, no.
What themselves? No. I'm saying when they wanted to be recognized and all of that, could they defend themselves?
That was a bull rush. Powerful. What gives you the power of the bull rush? Dennis just came for his power up.
Glomming on are initiatives to take Sykes-Picot to attach the British portion to the French portion, not to create an independent thing separate from the French portion. That's my understanding of it.
No, well, I kind of think of it in more like basic fundamentals. Like, and this is literally how the Native Americans lost their land, right? They couldn't defend themselves. Same thing. Why Israel is a force in the Middle East is because they're backed by the U.S. and that makes them able to defend themselves as a formidable foe. They can defend themselves. So if that is the premise, when you scrub everything else, the baseline skeleton is that if you want to maintain your sovereignty, you have to defend yourself. It's the same reason Ukraine is in the situation they're in now. You couldn't defend yourself. You should have joined NATO. You didn't join NATO. You would have had the backing, i.e.,
is infinite.
The poverty to the trauma. I mean, I think about that. I mean, my brother went to jail for 17 years, and I think, damn, imagine if he had a different life. Would he have been in jail 17 years? I was kidnapped by a pimp and all type of shit. Would that have happened if I lived in a beautiful, nice neighborhood with good people around? Who knows? For me, it's just like, damn, bro, this shit is crazy. It's a crazy-ass mouse game. And all the other stuff to me is just like, we've got to fake ourselves into a funk to even exist in this bitch. All this healing and shit. Nigga, what is we healing this for? Fuck, I thought this was life. Motherfuckers constantly healing this shit. I'm so tired of healing this shit. And this is just me. This ain't got to be nobody else. I'm not saying none of y'all feel like this. This how I feel. I'm so fucking tired of all the spiritual shit, all of it. Me, personally. This has no bearings. It truly has no bearings on the now. Because guess what's going to happen now? See, now today is the 28th of the month. Now, your ass got to pay rent. See, now, your ass got to get up and go get some motherfucking money. That has no bearings on your spiritual well-being. The fucking money don't give a fuck about how good your spirit is today. Bitch, get the money. I'm just saying. I'm just saying, and I get what you mean, bro. I'm not going against what you mean about depression. Yes, depression is all these other things and all that. But for me, I mean, I see a direct correlation between the mass amounts of black and brown people who are traumatized and fucking extreme fucking poverty. And even if it ain't extreme, it could be, like I said, middle class, all that. It's just, I don't know, it's just what I've been thinking about, all this shit.
I didn't grow up with poverty. I grew up in a nice middle class house.
No, that middle class is still poverty. That's why I'm not trying to say nothing about y'all lives. Listen, when I'm saying this, I don't mean you personally or where you grew up. Because obviously, everybody gonna say they didn't grow up in poverty. Poverty is what poverty is. It don't matter if the house is nice, a little neighborhood. It don't matter. Like, I'm not, that's what I'm not trying to play the word semantics on what wealth truly is. Like, do we truly know what wealth is?
But I didn't talk to celebrities that had millions of dollars.
And I'm not talking about celebrities, Brown.
On people that was rich as fuck, and basically they was going through the same shit.
I know lots of rich people and that too. It's not just about that.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was saying. Like, when it comes to money, it's like only so much money can buy. Only so much money, like when you sick or like you have an illness or someone, like, I know people that lost kids and shit, like the money wasn't even a thing, or like the money wasn't even an option. The money couldn't even save their kid. The money couldn't even save their parents. The money couldn't save,
Yeah, but that's for something. That's for a situation. Listen, Brown, I get you. I get what you mean. That's for somebody who may have already had money and then went through a situation and became depressed. That is not what I'm talking about. That's not what I'm talking about. The black community as a whole has grown up in poverty. I don't give a fuck. The neighborhoods in which we live in were created for black niggas to live in them. Before black people lived in Compton, my nigga, I'm from the same fucking state as you. Before the black people lived in fucking Compton, the white folks lived in fucking Compton. And why the fuck did white people move out of Compton? Because niggas was moving to Compton. So the white people had it first. I'm just keeping that shit honest. I'm just looking at what the fuck they have done. Bro, these motherfuckers said, I'm just wondering, where's the catch-up button? Black folks, catch up. Where's that button? Because just like Hogan said, all the red line, all those things, I don't care. It directly correlates to poverty for me. And it's not just having money. No, it's not just about having money. It's about having security, children growing up a certain type of way, having certain type of things. That connection that Yoli was talking about with the Jeffrey Epstein and all the people, man, that's not just a connection. That's also assets and leverage and all type of other shit that can be used to put people in a certain position where they never got to worry about shit. But the reason why it's hard to talk about this thing that I'm talking about, because it's an inevitable thing. It's a thing that cannot be changed by any individual. at this point, it's looking like it cannot be changed at all. It's looking like these motherfuckers that won this war of figuring out who's going to be rich and who's going to be poor. But I'm saying, I know it's totally a totally different conversation of the actual individual depression, because I see that that's actually what this conversation is about. Individual depression. But for me, it's like it's a blanket of depression for all those who have and or is experiencing some sort of poverty. It doesn't matter. It's just like, this shit is just crazy. And for me, and it's just like, damn, bro. I just look at my son, and I just think about like I said earlier, the bloodlines. I know the red line and shit, man, but it still just make me think, like, damn. I mean, damn, why couldn't I have a super old white grandpa?
Like you coming in from the materials, that's what I said, man. It's like honestly, this is a spiritual war. I don't even believe in mental health.
I know, you probably didn't hear me when I said I'm not with that spiritual shit no more. That shit has no bearings with Rennes, dude.
Yeah, I'm like, as far as like, we're talking about like within like the spirit, like my spirit helped me do everything as far as everything in life. And it surpasses like the materialistic aspect of it. Like it's more so a thing that you have to deal with internally. Everybody's fight will be different. You may have some people that was molested, some people that was like, put in certain circumstances that made them feel this way. All I'm saying is that at the end of the day, I understand people, and I understand people from a ground zero perspective. I understand people from the lowest of the low, and I know like it's essentially what they're going through. Is what I'm saying. It's like and a lot of times it's not even like a money thing. It's not just a black and brown thing. It's just a people thing. And because why? Because the aspects of like hell, demons, or spiritual entities have what is like taboo. It's not something that people want to talk about. It's not something that people want to like, indulge in, whether it's like people like being promiscuous. Like for example, like I remember I told him, and he commented on one of my posts when I had posted. What some people call it like that. Some people call it media. Some people call it old man, or like some people call it Jezebel or whatever. And he was telling me how basically some of the dreams were essentially they were being pretty much like a sex, so like being raped within the spiritual realm. And I told him it's because of their lustfulness. And they stopped it, and that thing stopped appearing. But when you talk about like entities, talk about depression, talk about like the mindset, it's all one thing. It just lowers and falls into multiple things based on how you feel it. Like it's like how like in a movie like in the third thing. That's based on a real spiritual entity that was transcended from that was derived from the English mythology called the tall soup. And the tall soup is pretty much just a negative energy that it takes the form of like certain shapes and certain figures and certain people, and it feeds off of certain energies during a certain time. It feeds off of greed, it feeds off of lust, it feeds off of these certain things. Like most times people being fed on and don't even know it. A lot of people are being fed on and don't even fucking know it. A lot of people are just functioning and depressed and they don't even know it. And that's why I love what I do, because I get to save lives. I get to help people out of that mindset. I get to help people overcome that by explaining to them what it is in death and what type of entity that they're dealing with. Because all that they just, when you go to the mental health system in America, all they do is just, say, you just play the symptom. Okay, so you got depression, you got psychosis, you got schizophrenia, things like that. Put them on drugs and send them along their way. But me, I'm blessed with a gift to identify this. I'm blessed with a spiritual gift to help everybody and to help people out of those dark situations, because I've been through hell. And like I said, and that's why a lot of people gravitate towards celebrities, niggas in the hood, just anywhere I go, because I'm able to relate and understand from all perspectives.
saying it's not mutual. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm speaking about the person, the individual level. And that's what I can confirm. That's my understanding of what you're saying. Speaking about people with depression and how people personally deal with depression themselves. I'm talking about something totally different. Like, and that's my thing. It's like we the only fucking community in the world that don't do materialism. Do you know the reason why they own this shit? Because them motherfuckers had an insatiable need to take, to own, create, and have. And we the only community that's like, it's not about money. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It may not heal everything. It may not heal everything, but I bet you a whole lot of lives. But you know, the funny thing is, even if I say a whole lot of lives, it doesn't matter. Honestly, to be truly honest, and it does sound a little bit defeated. I got to be honest about that too. Because I have been feeling that way today. Thinking about the full structure of things. It has been defeated. And earlier, especially in accessible structures, like that's a part of the scale. And I would like to elaborate on that aspect too. But I was thinking when you said that too, like, damn, like,
complain to Uber.
It is. It is defeated. To realize, you know what I'm saying? Not just you individually. I mean, a whole family, whole communities who are living in poverty. And like I said, the idea that we're not living in poverty, like, oh no, that's the fantasy, that's the spell. For me, that's the spell. These folks never thought that. People who control everything, them houses and something like that. That 6,000 a month, at no point was they ever thinking this would cost too much. I should be put the price down for folks. You know, this nice lady. I mean, she fought for us. You know, but that ain't happening. The motherfucker have an insatiable need for money. And money make this motherfucking world go around. And even when a motherfucker have a religion and or spiritual religion or whatever the fuck people want to call it, guess what? They don't go without it. I mean, no matter what you tell me about yourself, you better have some. Not to get to me, but to buy the tissue that you're going to need to wipe your ass. Or to pay the gas bill you need to turn on the fire on that stove you like to cook on. That's why all this shit about spiritual stuff for me, it don't matter because God, the God for real that shows himself is money. It don't matter what your spirit, you can be a Christian, die-hard Christian, go to church every Sunday, but I bet you got the tithes and offering. I bet you got the money. And I bet you working to get some money. For me, if there's something, every time I make an equation, because it's all mathematics, if every time I have to guess the number of n, and n continues to be money, I'm sorry, yeah, money is the root of everything. It is. It's the reason why black people live in poverty. Yep. See, if black people did have money,
but you got black people living in poverty that's happy as fuck, like, and you don't realize. I'm saying you got black people that live in poverty, and they happier than people that with billions of dollars.
The kids, I don't mean shit about their kids' life, and their kids growing up in poverty. The fuck, just because they fake themselves out to believe that this is okay. They okay in poverty.
Everybody not like that. Everybody not. No, they not. Niggas not faking themselves out. Everybody don't live from a materialistic aspect. Everybody don't live from that, like for example, like when niggas don't know they're poor until they see other rich people, and then they start comparing their lives to them, and then it makes them depressed. And then they start saying, oh, this motherfucker got a mansion, this motherfucker got a Ferrari and a Lamborghini, and then you look at your life and you become depressed. That's something else. That's a different like.
Yeah, but you see, Brown, you keep speaking on an individual level. I'm not talking about how a motherfucker see a Ferrari and be like, oh, I want one. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about whole communities living in I'm not talking about that.
And I'm saying comparing yourself to other rich people as far as like, and then equating like the depression, equating a downfall in a mindset to like those who have money and to automatically assume like, okay, these people We just playing with you.
I was trolling and shit.
Nigga,
No, if y'all still in here, I'll be back. I'm about to shower.
God damn, you came in here before you about to wash that ass. Hell, you supposed to shower before you come in here. You come in with those stinky butt. Look at the temperature all fucked up. Can't even let those stinky butt and shit. Yeah, though, man. Look.
Just wanted to show you the quality of the prints. They're amazing, absolutely amazing. So this is obviously the original and beautifully framed, really substantial. And you can see there's a mixture of gloss and matte finish. And each one is actually polished as well. So absolutely stunning. And when you compare them to the original, they're so similar. Absolutely fantastic.
So how much fentanyl you smoke today?
Super exciting. My friends tomorrow. Super exciting.
How much K2 you fucking smoke today? Still pass on that sticker, bro. You smoke crack is that good. Yeah, I don't know what that crack is shit. Girl from Message Clothes. I thought she gave girls that. How you doing tonight? I said she probably so nervous for help with the Damn, Megan, you let old No Way do you like that, bro?
Yeah.
Damn.
Who would have?
Oh, he had you on his knee, bro. I was like, damn.
What dude?
Jose.
I know what it is, like I engaged, like, nah, I'm good, bro. That shit thing happened. That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, good luck on that purchase, man. Good luck on that purchase.
Yeah, dude. Oh, dude, did I tell you that, like, I got fucked over in short 2 days ago?
I just heard you say something about it, and I didn't want to bring it up because that's like a low point. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I got fucked up. So, I mean, like, 3.5K just oops. Market manipulation.
Well, how much were you up?
I was like up like 700, right? Like 700. Like, okay. I was like, look, this seems like this is like sugar manipulation, right? Like, this is crazy. Like, Jane Street came out. They were like suppressing Bitcoin at a specific time, and so it was getting confused. I think like the Asian market closed, right?
I don't want to tell on him because somebody might try to come kill me or someone in my family.
that I would like to look.
There's an other side to critical thinking, but there's not another side to the flat earth.
You're at the bottom of it. You're at the underside of critical thinking.
You want to keep insulting me, but I find it funny that you see the other side of critical thinking, but you don't see the other side.
There's critical thinking on this side, and then there's you on the other side.
Okay, so then what's on the other side of the
One
flat
more time,
earth?
William. One more time. I'm gonna try one more time. Dude, why? It's like bullets bouncing off of Superman. Information does not get into this nigga. I just want to try it one more time. Jesus Christ. I want to try one more time. Dude. You asked over and over. What is the other side? Right? I told you that we can go to the deepest depths of the ocean and the deepest we ever dug into the earth, which is both was about 7-point-something miles, or we rounded up to 8 miles, right? Anything beyond that other side, we do not know, we do not claim. So there is no other side. We like to stick to what Linnell said as far as the surface and the area that we are aware of, and we can talk about that. So if you keep asking there's the other side, I promise you, Linnell will not stop informing you that you are not ready for this conversation. So if you ask that one more time, it's going to tell us that you're
I'm
not
totally ready for the conversation. I just don't accept you denying the
okay,
fact
then
that
that's on you, bro. That's not on us. That's on you. You have the problem. We're not in denial about anything.
You won't tell me what's on the other side. You won't tell me what you
want
want to know.
How can I tell you something
So how
that I
about
don't know? Wait, hold on. Please, bro. I'm not trying to remove you from the room.
What is the edge of the flat earth like, and what holds the water in place
That's
at
a
the
better
edge
question.
of the flat
We
earth?
can move on now. So as far as an edge, right, I don't know as far as what's beyond a certain point, but of a so-called edge, Antarctica would be an edge, and Antarctica has the highest average elevation above sea level, right? So if we're talking about keeping the water in, then we have a sea floor that the water is touching, and then as far as those so-called edges to keep that water in bounds of where we're, aware of, that will be the so-called edge. Anything beyond Antarctica's as far as the surface and beyond that, I don't know. But as far as where we're at, within the bounds of Antarctica, as far as it has the highest average elevation above sea level, you can think of that.
You threw him out the room?
Yeah, threw him out the room.
So why can't that's like he abuses the green bean.
Oh, well. Then he was dropping through the ghost from out the room.
Yeah.
Because if I put him in the room, she would have brought it back up.
Donald Trump, President of the United States. Tiny hands and orange skin. Take the deepest breath of the day. Hold for 10 seconds. Hold for 10, 11, 10, 9, 9. Hold for 10 seconds. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Take the deepest breath of the day. Hold for 10 seconds. Hold for 10, 9, 11, 10, 9, 9. Hold for 10 seconds. Take the deepest